time.
Yeah. So I was honestly stressed about this. I was.
You stressed?
Well, because the reason was that we had planned this so long ago, and what should I talk about? What about this? And I was thinking about when I lived in North Carolina, and we would do FaceTimes, and they would be like 3-4 hours effortlessly. You know, like it's not like we were trying to talk for a long time.
Right.
And I was like, how do we do that?
How do we like plan a conversation?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then it was like yesterday or the day before, I had a question for you, and I was like, oh, and then I just thought of a response, and then a bunch of avenues, and then I'm like, oh, let's have a conversation. And then I relaxed, and it was okay. And then I also had forgotten that we were going to build this Lego.
Yeah. Well, this is the time well spent right here.
Yes, definitely. Little Daily Bugle with 10,000 minifigures.
Yeah, Daily Bugle. You're much more of a Marvel fan than.
Yeah. So the options for building the Legos were the Daily Bugle or the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
And Avengers Tower was cool because it was the battle from the first Avengers. But I feel like Spider-Man is more relatable and just kind of more of an OG. Plus, there were way more minifigures. And it was cheaper, so.
Plus, you and I, with the Daily Bugle, go way back.
That's true. Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, great game.
Hours and hours.
Hours spent. So that was a campaign that I had never beat. Like, I got to this level. You remember Paragon?
Yes.
Yes.
She was so good.
Yeah, she was sick. There was a level where, like, you just go down the hallway, and there's a gauntlet of just bad guys that you face, and she's escaping or something. And I could never get past it. And so I just never beat the game until I played it in college. And then I beat it.
Well, it was a top 10 regret, and then you redeemed yourself.
I redeemed myself, yeah. And it was either the last or the second to last level. And I didn't realize that. And so I beat it, and it was basically done. I was like, oh, dang. Maybe that's why it was so hard.
Yeah.
Because it was the last thing. But we got through it.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
All right, one more piece, and then who's this?
Aunt May.
Aunt May.
Yep.
And then she's done.
And she's got like a plate.
She's got a plate in her hand
with cookies, pancakes.
How do you even put this on her hand?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Not crucial. Oh, there we go. And then I think you got this thing on there, like the cookie min.
Oh.
Cookie piece.
Excellent.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Aunt May bring us cookies.
That's right. So tasty.
All right, so there we are. Step 1. Done. Now crank them out.
Now Alex is a bit of a Lego pro.
That's right.
Talk about your skill set.
So I've built mostly all the Star Wars Ultra Lego sets.
Is that like a classification?
Yeah, so you have like the Ultimate series for Star Wars, which is the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyer, the Death Star, and then there's a couple others that like are like the gunships and such like that. Mm-hmm. And I kind of set the world record pace for the Millennium Falcon.
Tell them.
Unrecorded. Yeah, it was just me cranking it out, and I was like, "What is the world record pace?" And it was like 36 hours with like a team of 3, and I was like 30 hours.
Dang. And so, not straight.
No, not straight.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
Not straight. Yeah. And they might have been straight.
Okay, sure.
And I definitely was not straight, so that might be a little asterisk on my part.
Sure.
Yeah,
going sleep deprived actually is a disadvantage, I'm sure, when building Legos.
That's exactly right. But I've never built a Marvel set before, and so I'm pumped to build this one.
I don't think I have either, despite being a Marvel guy. No, wait, I just did the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's a good one.
Yeah, that one was sick. That was a going away present from someone at Orange Theory Westerville.
Yeah. That's nice of them.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Look, I love Legos. Honestly, one of the biggest multitasking activities is building Lego sets and listening to podcasts. For some reason, it's better than podcasts and driving.
Interesting.
It's seamless. It's an awesome experience.
Okay.
To do that. And so I just cranked out during like the Millennium Falcon. I cranked out, I don't know, 6 podcasts. 7, 10. I don't know.
Yeah. However many fits into 30, depending on the length. Yeah.
And so, it was a really fun experience. I love it.
How long ago was this?
3-4 years ago during the pandemic.
Oh, sure. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So yeah, it's, I can't, my wife doesn't let me, Kathleen does not let me, have them in our house because there's no room. So
where are the ones you have now?
They're at my mom's house.
Oh, that's great.
They are displayed in my mom's basement downstairs.
I love it.
So I'm sad, but eventually, I mean, I do plan on bringing them back into my life.
Yeah, sure.
Whenever that is.
Just
show them off. I mean, I've transported them. I transported the Millennium Falcon to 3 or 4 different houses.
Okay.
Without breaking it.
That's impressive.
And that's an accomplishment in itself.
That is impressive. Too. Yeah, I think the Yoda, no, not Yoda, Grogu, you got us that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Tay and I think it was like a going away present. We built that in North Carolina, moved it to German Village because we were there at German Village. And then from German Village, we moved to Neal Avenue for a little bit. And then from Neal Ave, we moved to my mom's house before we moved into our house. So it was like German Village, Neal Ave, my mom's house, then our house. It survived 4 moves. All within.
It's a bit lighter and a bit less.
Way easier. Way more solid than the Millennium Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon is 7,500 pieces.
That's outrageous.
It's awesome. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Well, it's cool also because you can take the top off.
Various pieces you can take off, and you can look inside, and you can see Han and Leia, you know, doing the dirty out in the utility closet. And you can.
Okay, laser brain.
What is it? The
scruffy-headed nerf herder. Yeah.
Scoundrel. Yeah.
She thinks I'm scruffy. Classic.
And so, yes, the topic I did want to talk to you about.
Please, yeah, let it rip.
Was that I just binged 4 episodes and finished Andor.
Of season 2?
Season 2.
I haven't seen a single episode.
So I finished it.
Okay. Let's hear your non-spoiler review.
Incredible.
Really?
Incredible.
Oh, because the first season was good.
Better than the first season.
Wow.
Yeah, seamless transition right into Rogue One.
Because I saw the Ben Mendelsohn actor who was in Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, yeah?
Who's in Rogue One, who was also in this season. Is he Krennic?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. They did a great job bringing most of the same cast.
Wow.
Back into Andor season 2.
So is this the last season then?
It is the last season.
Yeah.
Because it basically just transitioned. Like you can literally finish season 2, episode 12, and then just turn on Rogue One.
Dang.
And it's right, and it's just like
that's awesome.
So people are joking because it's like Andor season 3.
Oh, okay.
It's actually Rogue One.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. We got rid of our Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah.
Like probably a week or 2 before the season dropped, which sucks because that's probably like the one good thing that they put out in a while.
Yeah, I know.
But we just weren't really watching it, and I don't even know what the last Marvel show was. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I do remember, but it wasn't good. And so I was just like, if I want to watch Infinity War, I have it on Blu-ray. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say goodbye.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah, but I do want to watch it, so it might be worth getting it back.
Yeah. By the way, I messed up here.
Those are some tough ones to mess up on.
They are tough to mess up here.
So, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, what is your earliest memory of us hanging out? because I was trying to figure that out, and I don't know if I have one.
I think it's going to Michigan together.
See, that is okay. Well, so that is mine. But at that point, we were already friends.
Yeah.
So
it probably was like one of our first
big ventures.
Friend, yeah.
And we would have been 7.
Yeah, second grade.
Second grade, yeah, second grade. So,
I mean, we became friends in second grade.
Yes. Were you in Saltus in first grade?
No, I was in DeSalvo.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have known each other then.
No. Who had the big stop sign in their classroom?
That was us.
Light?
That was Saltus. Yeah.
I was always jealous of you guys.
Yeah, because you guys just had the clips, right? Like there was.
I don't remember what we had.
Like clothespins that would be. There was a stoplight replica, and clothespins would go on it for individuals
That's a
who
good
were.
memory.
I only remember that because I thought it was very peasant of you in your class to not have a real stoplight. And it was also for individuals, and ours was for the whole class. So we'd be put on yellow light when, we were getting close.
Yeah. And then Kuman.
Yes, right.
Was the GOAT.
Yes.
Like, honestly, one of the best teachers ever throughout any education.
Yeah, Georgetta Kuman is an OG.
I mean, biggest Buckeye fan I think I've ever met.
Yeah. I think the experience of having the marching band come and do Script Ohio. Like
she led
Script Ohio for our school was a next level experience.
Yeah.
And one that's probably hard to beat.
No, it is. Especially when you're 7 years old.
Yeah. and like Buckeye Nation is so big for those of you who are not in Central Ohio.
And I'm pretty sure we won the national championship that year.
That would have been 2002 and then 2003
was
when we won the national championship. Dang.
So awesome. It was prime time.
Back when you were a Michigan fan.
No, I was a Buckeye fan at that point.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then I transitioned to Michigan. I don't know.
Okay.
When I started growing my hair out long.
Well, that dark era.
That's my Anakin era.
Anakin era. Was that the inspiration for it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I mean, long hair was kind of cool at the time.
I think Tom Brady was the inspiration for it.
Okay.
Because he like went through a phase of long hair, and he went to Michigan, and I was like a big fan of him.
Sure.
So that might have been the inspiration for it.
Sure.
But yeah, gosh, this piece is so hard to get off.
0% chance we finish this.
We're not even past the first page.
Well, also, you're doing an okay job. I feel like my ability to be able to carry a conversation and build this shit is going to be next to 0. So we'll see. But I feel like growing hair out was the thing, especially like 4th and 5th grade, because that was I remember trying to do that, and my dad was in charge of my hair because he would cut it.
Your dad was in charge of your hair for like 12 years.
Oh, a long time, a long time. I mean, I think through high school.
Yeah, and then you stripped that power.
I stripped that power hardcore. Yeah, because I remember growing up when it was haircut time, there was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And sometimes I'd be like, "You have to catch me," and so he'd run around the house and he'd grab me and be like, "Grab the stool. We're going downstairs." Like, no, all the other kids are growing their hair out. Let me do it. And then got to college and was like, I'm going to have shoulder length hair for 5 years.
Yeah, that was.
And then
it wasn't even really well tamed.
No, oh god, no. It was just straight up.
It's just there.
Just
unhinged. Like normally when you if you try to grow out the flow, like you get some haircuts and you try to.
No,
there was none of that.
Never. So the summer going into our freshman year of college, I had a buzz cut, like maybe 2 weeks before going to OU.
Yeah.
And then I did not cut my hair until March of 2014. So from August 2013 to March 2014, I did not cut my hair. March 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was all the freshman year. the summer after freshman year, and then all of first semester sophomore year, and then half of second semester sophomore year.
I mean, I remember what that looked like very vividly. I mean, how many times did I say, "Hey, like you should consider visiting the barber"?
I don't know. I don't even really remember that. I think I totally tuned it out.
I mean, I took the onus to like become a barber, like cut my own hair because I eventually wanted to get good enough so I could cut your hair.
Really?
That might have been my back of my mind. Which I did. Which I eventually...
You did cut my hair the morning of my wedding.
The morning of your wedding, I cut your hair.
Yeah, and I completely trusted you. I said, whatever you do, I'm sure it'll be great.
And there's like a boatload of hair in Sean Forker's kitchen.
I think it looked good that day. We put a little something in there. Yeah,
it looked great that day.
Amazing day. So, one of the reasons I wanted to ask you about your first memory of us hanging out, which mine also is Michigan, and specifically, my mom got us like these like knockoff Lego Bionicles to build in the car.
Oh yeah,
does that ring a bell?
Yeah, because I was obsessed with Bionicles.
Yes, yeah, as was I, and so that's probably my earliest memory is us building those on the way there, and then what would become a classic. Was it Strawberry Yum Yums?
Yep. The quote of the century.
The quote. Yeah.
Mimi, my grandma.
They were just like these volcano-shaped, but more just triangle-shaped pastries. And whatever the flavor was, I just said it was that flavor, yum yum. And Alex's grandma, Mimi, just was so into it.
Never forgets it. You have a couple food quotes with my family.
I do. Reese's Puffs, because of...
You were stuffing your face.
I brought a box of Reese's Puffs on the plane through security. That was that the first time? Was that freshman year or senior year?
Yeah, that was senior year.
Yeah, I think so. So I was 17. Just like head in.
I mean, we ate a ton of food that.
Yeah, that was a big one. We each gained like weight.
5 pounds.
Yes.
I gained, I think, 5 or 6 pounds.
I also did.
And that was like
right before track season. I don't think it was like a competition, but I think the first night we each ate a whole pizza, and I think that set the tone. We're like, we're gonna smash. We're gonna smash this.
I remember we went to get barbecue, and I think we got both got a full slab of baby back
ribs. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I think it was just I'm just gonna be a gluttonous 17-year-old because, and then by the end of the first week of track practice, it was gone.
We burned it all off.
It was completely gone.
We probably were a week behind in our training.
Probably close to it. Probably a little lethargic. Probably could have done a little bit better. But you were also trying to gain weight for football.
Yeah, which was a big
simultaneously.
Big one of the big mistakes I actually have in my life was trying to gain weight for football
during track season.
Yeah, and like leading up post senior year football and then into senior year track season. Because I actually was slower senior year than I was my junior year in track, which I was really bummed about.
Sure,
because I was doing like 60-gram protein shakes and my upper body was just, I mean, I was benching 290, 300. Like as a senior in high school running track.
Right.
And it's just way too big.
And what, are you 5'9", you 5'10"?
5'10".
5'10", yeah.
Yeah. Which I made it to regional finals.
In 100?
100, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And then lost to two future NFL players.
Oh, nice.
In the 100.
Well, those are some good people to lose to.
Yeah, but I don't know. I felt like I could have done better.
Well, I remember one meet in particular. Do you remember when old buddy Reagan Malice got you?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Was that in the 200?
That was in the 200, and I was not feeling good that day.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I was frustrated with myself. I'm like, why am I not getting better here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he beat me, and
so I remember sitting with you on the field afterwards, and like your dad came over and was like, "What's up? Doing all right?"
Yeah, and I was, anyways. Yeah, that was a low. That was like the low moment, I think, in my senior year track season. But most of my fastest times were junior year. 10.91 in the 100, and then 22.4.
Nice.
22.4 in the 200. And my party joke is that I was 1 second away from qualifying for the men's Olympic final in the 100.
Oh, nice. Yeah, 1 second away.
Which is true.
A colossal amount of time.
But it's like the difference between running a 7-minute mile and a 4-minute mile.
Right. Exactly. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but for people who don't know,
they're like, "Oh, really?"
You're like, "Whoa,
you must have been good."
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I was, but let me tell you a little bit more about what that means.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was never a sprinter. I don't think I ever had. I don't think I've ever had a timed, like a true timed 100 or 60 or 40 or 200.
Yeah.
We did 200s, but they weren't sprints, obviously. So.
Right. I think I set the UA record for this 60-meter dash
in winter season.
Yeah, the indoor.
Yeah.
And look, I think it was just kind of a bit of luck because I'm not sure they really timed those things forever, and so maybe I'm just kind of claiming it. Our coach told me that, so
nice. Well, that's cool. I mean, you can say that if that's what they said,
right? Yeah.
As far as you know.
But I mean, was that 10 years ago? 12, 13 years ago? 14?
It would have been either, what is it, 2025? Yeah, so it has to be 12 years ago.
Like almost.
If it was senior year.
Yeah, I mean almost to a decade and a half ago.
Yeah,
I mean.
Pretty close to it.
Probably a lot of people who've been fast.
Since then, sure. You would hope. You would certainly hope.
Yeah. But you're pushing it on the, you just beat your high school PR.
Yeah.
In the 5K.
Yeah. That was cool. That was something that when I set the goal, I know I've told you this, but when I set the goal, I was like, that's kind of lofty. A little lofty. But.
I was so proud of you.
Yeah. That was a great day.
It was a really great day.
That was a very good day. That was one of those moments though where in the moment I was just chill right after.
Yep.
I didn't feel any sort of overwhelming excitement or anything like that. I think it almost felt a little bit anticlimactic.
Oh, really?
Not in a negative sense, but just because it was 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was 3 months in the cold and it was winter. And just to have it be over so quickly, even though obviously it takes a little bit longer than a 100-meter dash, it's still a 5K perception-wise on that day. Just went by so quick. I was kind of like, dang. There's a little bit of a void in terms of just what do I do now? But maybe 2 or 3 weeks after, it really started to settle in. And I did a solo episode of the pod, breaking down my training
awesome.
And that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, dude, this is actually pretty sick of you.
Yeah.
To have done that.
Absolutely, it was.
So yeah, big accomplishment.
Not so happy to be there.
Yeah, that was cool. I was glad that you came ready to warm up. That was sick.
Yeah.
That was cool, and it was a nice surprise having Sean there randomly because I did not know he was going to be there.
Yep.
And it was cool having Dad and Lise and yeah, it was a good cheering section. Lisa made some signs. She was very supportive.
She's so artistic.
She is. She was talking to me after. She's like, you got second because they had the results right away. And she was like, how are you not more hype right now? She's like, I would be shouting from the rooftops or something like that. She was geeked. So I was kind of living off of her energy on that day.
Yeah, she does have great energy.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
I am making progress on this now.
Nice. It looks like it.
Now that I've figured out the kind of main frame here.
Sure.
All right. I did miss a piece.
So you and I went to school like we were talking about from age 6 to
18,
but didn't become friends until age 7. When you look back on your time at UA, I know that's a lot of time to think about, but like, do you ever reflect on that time at all? Just like elementary school, middle school, high school, or is it kind of irrelevant now?
No, I mean, it's always a part of you, part of me.
Sure. Me too.
I don't reflect on it. I enjoy the memories. Like, it's taking May, my daughter, to Greensview, because we live
right.
It brings back a ton of memories.
Sure.
Even though they rebuilt the school and it's a different playground and such, it still brings those memories back.
Right.
The smell and the kids running around, hearing the kid, like, you do kind of transport back.
Sure.
To that era.
Maybe like a couple memories lengthen, or you remember something that you hadn't thought about in a while.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't dwell on. I really enjoyed my childhood.
Same.
I think we were very blessed.
Definitely.
In the place that we grew up, and it that's why I came back and moved back here, because I want my family to have similar memories, but I want them to choose their own path, and
sure.
But it's a great place to raise a family and a great place to live, and I only, for the people that I talk to, really keep in touch with, you are certainly the sole.
Sure.
No, I mean, there's others, but yeah, I mean,
Jack,
for those that
Raul.
actually, text on a weekly basis, talk to on a weekly basis, hang out with,
right,
get our families together. It's you.
Yes.
And then there's Jack Romaltz and Jake Nolan, and I cannot get this piece out.
Which one?
I don't know. So sorry.
No, you're good.
There is
which one?
That one right there.
Oh.
This one needs to be a.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Did you try using this thing?
No.
Oh shit! I don't think you can. But yeah, there not too many folks you reach out to.
No. Yeah. It's
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No. It's
because I mean, dude, life, like we were talking about before the pod, is moving at a mile a minute. So the bandwidth to even
there's
just
only
like
so much time in space.
Yeah, it's like not to be like, you only need so many friends.
In the college going to UD, there was only 4 people who graduated from our class who went to UD. And so there's, Max Zambito, who I saw last weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I see people, I'm certainly cordial with those, but
of course,
actually being friends with those folks is, it's difficult. I like them a lot, but it's only so much time and space.
Is there anything like defining in terms of like, in terms of that era, like any lessons that you feel like you've taken with throughout your life?
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha.
Certainly it's, those years are very formative.
Right. It can be tough to think of like lessons, at least for me. I guess I could think of one, but
my wife and I are talking about this actively. She went to Catholic school growing up. Every single school that she went to was private Catholic, and I was public. Even though I grew up Catholic, the public school experience is certainly different.
Right.
And I enjoyed, even though UA, people certainly would not classify it as the most diverse place you could go to. I did like the diversity of what people did with their lives, what people focused on.
Yes, like post.
Like if you wanted to be an artist, that was a place you could do that. If you wanted to be in Broadway, there's a place for you. If you wanted to be an Olympic swimmer.
Gotcha. There's definitely place for Olympic swimmers.
Yes. If you wanted to, go work in finance, if you wanted to be a touring musician and just release an album today, such as camp, like that.
Right.
It's a place where that can happen. And I think it is cool seeing so many people do the things that they're doing now, after graduating from high school. Even though it's just fun to be connected to those people. And I think, the network around the community is, I don't know if it's a lesson, but it's certainly a piece of value that I'm grateful to be a part of. And, yeah.
Nice. That was a good answer.
Yeah.
When I think about my time in UA, one of the lessons I feel like I took away, was something in 5th grade that I feel like manifested more so in middle school. And that was that I did not, like, with regards, I guess, to climbing the social ladder, I feel like I did that, and that's so funny to say, but like as a 9-10-year-old,
yeah,
I feel like that was something I was trying to do.
You crushed it. I mean,
that's so.
You
funny.
were like one of the most popular kids in school.
Sure, but by the time I got to middle school, I think I was just like, I was trying, if that made sense, and I feel like when we merge with the other schools, I guess maybe more so. I'm going to say in high school. I'm going to change my answer. When I got to high school, I feel like that really set in, because I feel like certain people started getting like more vapid and just like less authentic, or started hanging out with people that were that way.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't put up a face and be like, I guess the ends did not justify the means. I'm like,
yeah, especially like the upperclassmen and such.
Upperclassmen, even like some of the, I really like almost everyone in our grade, and I had a good time with almost everyone, and I don't think anyone was really like a bad person, but like some people, I just didn't think were very down to earth.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for me to have conversation for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
And then also, I think because my dad made me do cross country, dude, this
Lego is hard. It's hard to like carry on a conversation and focus on not putting a piece in the wrong spot.
Yes. But because my dad made me do cross country,
I feel like I failed. I talked up my Lego skills, and I've totally.
That's
botched it
well, this is your first time potting.
Yeah, potting and Legoing. Don't recommend to people.
Yes, but we're gonna do it.
Onward.
But yeah, so that I feel like that was, and then I had once I stopped doing that. Yeah, I felt like I was able to be just extremely authentic. Yeah, and doing cross country. Because I remember going into I said this in my senior speech for cross country when we had our banquet. There's like I remember in middle school there was like a stigma, like, oh, the cross country kids are weird, and they were. I mean, justified.
I ran track, so I'm kind of part of it.
Yes, a little bit, yes. And that's what I said though. I told that story. I said I remember thinking those kids were so weird, and then my dad made me do cross country because I was too small for football, and I was so worried that everyone was going to be a weirdo, and I was right, but I was right at home, and I ended up becoming one of those weirdos,
awesome.
and
that's a great one.
Yes, and so it ended up being a pretty solid speech, but all right, I'm not going to switch this up, but so that was a formative lesson, was being myself. Not that I needed to work on that too much, because I'm pretty authentically myself.
I think so.
Like pretty often.
Which is one of the best qualities you have.
Well, thank you, brother.
Of the very few.
Of the very few qualities. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So wait, do these, brother? What's going on here?
This is like.
Oh, that one came off right away.
Yeah, well, the first one. Yeah, good luck with the second one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been. And then we just need a
small one.
Smaller one.
Yeah, here's this one.
Oh, shoot. We got it, folks. We're cooking. Okay. I think this is it.
Are we on to the second page?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. There's some of this. Did you get? Oh, you got some of that.
I did it.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay. So after UA, yeah, you get that back. After, unless you want me to go.
I got it.
Okay. After UA,
It's nice the pieces are actually different colors now.
yes. After UA, you go to UD,
Mhm.
and you start off playing football.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, that was my identity. That was like what I did. It's what my family classified me as. What my friends knew me as. It's what
Football player.
Well, yeah. It's just
Yes.
like what I do. It's what I like to do, and what I watch football and try to replicate these things.
I think you should also real quick just talk about just your senior year of high school, because there was some hype. I feel like senior year for you. That would lead you to have a good time into freshman year.
Yeah. Well, I was a all-conference player in high school. I played both sides of the ball. I played quarterback and corner, and I'm only 5'10", so it's not the easiest thing to do. Which I actually was not supposed to play quarterback.
I was about to say, hard to see over the lineman, but UA doesn't have that big of folks, so.
It was not easy, and the specific offense that we ran was not easy for me either, because I was under center a lot of the time.
What does that mean?
It means that, like, instead of shotgun,
yes,
where you're like
yeah,
5 yards back from the center, you're
so you're up close with the big dudes.
And I typically had to do 2 handoff fakes before, so I would turn around and I'd fake to the fullback, fake to the running back, and then I would roll out.
Gotcha. So you need some time.
So I need some time.
Yeah.
Which, sorry guys, but our offensive line was not as great as you might hope it to be. And so I was kind of under duress, but what I mentioned, I was not supposed to play quarterback. A guy that I was trying to give the job to quit. He transferred to another school. And so I was forced to, I just took the job and played a little bit at the QB position, but I was trying to play in college. And so what I was going to be good at, I was super fast. And so what I was going to be good at was playing defense and maybe potentially playing receiver too. And so I started to play that a little bit heading into senior year. But then I got my 4th concussion, the second or third game my senior year, and then sidelined me for 2 weeks. And then got a couple interest at the end of the season to play in college, a couple Ivy League schools, a couple kind of D2, D1 AA. But then I visited UD, where my dad went to play, and I fell in love with it. I actually
Was it the campus or what was it?
Yeah, it was the campus and it was the people.
Okay.
And I did an overnight.
Oh, sweet.
And it was a ton of fun.
Was this with your dad or?
No, it was with the players. It was
sick.
Yeah.
What was this during football season?
It was right after football.
Okay.
Right after we finished up the season. And so it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And I fell in love with the campus during the tour and fell in love with the people, and then committed to play at UD. And then went there, played for 4 weeks.
That was it?
5 weeks.
Oh my God.
And then got another concussion, and the doctors said it's probably time to think about not playing anymore.
Sure.
And I said, yes, sure.
To not playing.
I understand. And that was just a big hit to me, my dad, our family, because that was like what I was going to do. It's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. And,
definitely. Yeah, I mean, especially your dad being a Flyer himself.
Yeah, he was an All-American.
Definitely some legacy there.
He was an All-American. And
what's it mean to be an All-American?
It just means that you performed really well. And let's see, do we do this right? We are doing it right. here we go.
There they are.
You perform really well, and you're selected by a committee or by coaches as one of the best players in the country.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that's what that was gonna be hopefully my path, and it wasn't. And so, 6 weeks into freshman year in college, I was done doing something that I had been doing my entire life.
Right.
Which is obviously like a big shock.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved in, did not like my first semester at UD.
Okay.
I was just wandering in the dark.
Sure.
It felt like. And, and then eventually almost transferred to Ohio State because my mom was working there at the time. It was just a bit closer, and they offered a bit more robust, degrees that, that I potentially was interested in pursuing. And then just stuck it out second semester at UD and fell in love. Nice. Fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the people. Again, I thought I initially liked it, but when I got there, I was kind of
doing football stuff.
Sure. And then, that was it. Went to UD and had a great group of friends, and
definitely
stuck there.
Yeah. So up until, that concussion news, do you feel like that was the most adversity you'd faced? And was that the hardest thing to get over up at that point in your life?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How did you, what was there an aha moment that helped you accept that sort of fate, or was it just time, or what sort of got you over that hump?
I think it was time. And there are also some other, friends or colleagues that I went to, they were in my recruiting class at UD that either got injured and didn't quit too, or they just didn't like the experience there. And
how long did Mullins play for?
He played until beginning of sophomore year.
Okay, gotcha.
It's funny. Out of the 33 kids that we had in our recruiting class, only 3 of them stuck all 4 years.
Wow, is that typical?
I don't know if that's typical. It's just playing at UD is it's a lot of work. There's no there's no scholarship. Mm-hmm. And so it's a big financial commitment going to a private school.
Yes.
And for some reason, I think it just wasn't worth it to some people. Maybe they wanted to focus more on their academics and kind of realized that wasn't going to take them to the next level.
Sure.
And so they quit to focus on those things, or for another reason. Yeah. But I don't know what the realization was for me, but it's just time and just immersing myself in the student experience, I think, too, in the academic experience too. I mean, UD wasn't the greatest. It was a good academic school. But for what I wanted to pursue, which was kind of more business and kind of more startup centric activities, it wasn't, there wasn't a ton of options. I pursued, they had entrepreneurial, so I majored in entrepreneurship, but
and that's a business degree.
It's in Dayton, Ohio. It's not like in San Francisco or New York. Sure. And
you were in a business fraternity. That's technically what it was. Yes.
No, it was a service fraternity.
Oh, okay, gotcha. What's the difference?
Well, business fraternity is more focused on networking and events and I don't know what corporate stuff, and then service fraternity is more service based,
sure,
nonprofit and philanthropic based.
Okay, what sort of stuff did you guys do?
We hosted wheelchair basketball.
Oh,
and and we did a lot of kind of fitness based events.
Nice. I don't think I knew that.
Raise money. Yeah. I mean, I was in the fraternity. I wasn't a big contributor. I didn't hold a position in the office or such, but it was a good thing to be a part of.
Sure.
Good.
Definitely.
Really good group of guys. Yeah.
Nice.
Here. You
trade off. Where are we at?
We're here.
And that's finished?
Yep. 7's finished. So
nice.
8.
Criminy. Okay. I'm scared.
Good luck.
Okay. That's a space.
It's not the best, like, because all the pieces are the same color, so it's not the easiest to differentiate.
All right, we're gonna give it the old college try, as they say. Okay, so.
But you know what I really loved?
I don't. Well, maybe I do.
I was in school.
What? Tell me about it.
Visiting you.
Yeah, we had some good times. OU, baby.
During Halloween is like the greatest place.
Yeah, you came freshman year. You came
sophomore year.
A couple times. One time you texted me, and you were just in the parking lot below my dorm.
Yep.
I was like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Surprise downstairs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was awesome. So I think you were there at least twice then.
Yeah.
And then you came junior year, when you had to kick the door open and and then legendary night. Yeah, that's just one for the ages. And then I came to UD like a month. It's like 6 weeks later because you came. It was like February, and then I came in March.
Yeah, and then you had it a crazy.
That was a crazy time. I think that was like the best. The best weekend I could have picked.
Yeah, it
honestly
seriously was. I mean, I definitely remember that one vividly. But yeah, I mean, OU is such a great, from like a scenic view. That's
why I went there.
It's kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Yes,
there's something for everybody.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's
incredible. I'm so excited that your sister is going to be going now.
I know. Oh my gosh, she's like. I just went to a concert with her last week.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to see Noah Kahan.
Who's that?
That's so funny. Like, so many people don't know who this is.
Okay.
And I didn't know who it was until 2 days before.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel better.
But apparently some people are saying it was like the hardest ticket to get.
What?
I got it through work connection.
Nice. Slay.
Yeah, it was a really good show. But Katie is...
What kind of music is it?
It's like upbeat folk.
Okay.
Up-tempo folk. It's...
Gotcha.
Noah brought a ton of energy.
Okay. Good performer. Great stage presence.
Great stage presence. Lots of energy. Brought everything he could to the show. Had like he's kind of the main singer, but he had 4 other supporting band members.
Oh, okay, nice.
So it's really strong. But yeah, Katie's going to be that's freshman next year in Athens.
And my cousin's kid, his grad party's tomorrow.
Oh my gosh!
And so we'll be going to that, and then he'll be playing golf with Katie.
Katie's moving in 2 months.
Wow.
2 months.
In July. Oh, it's June. Oh, I forgot. It's June now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so freaky, dude.
Moving in.
Wow. That's very cool. Dude.
Yeah, we're going to visit her.
For sure. Okay, yeah. What were we talking about, though? With regards to OU. Oh, you're Dayton. We visited. Yeah, you that was one of your favorite parts of college. Yes, we got there.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some legendary times.
And then moved off to California.
Yeah, so what was the timeline on that? So you graduated UD in summer 2017. And when did you move to Cali?
July. Like the second week of July after graduating from
It was that quick of a turnaround? Mm-hmm. My timeline is messed up.
It was pretty quick because Kathleen moved out there
for grad school.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I was doing some music stuff. So like the thing that the next identity that I had after football was music.
I'm so excited. Well, yeah, because you're UD post football.
Yep.
And then
I was kind of like wandering in the dark, and then I figured out that I really liked sound design.
And how did you figure that out?
I don't know. I have no idea. But like at the time, there was a ton of new music coming out, like electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And a bunch of, a lot of artists were using sounds people have never heard before.
Okay.
Like, what is this? I kind of really like this. So I just started learning more, just started like teaching
just
myself.
Naturally
doing,
curious.
Online, sessions. And
what's an online session?
I don't know, just watching tons of YouTube videos.
Nice.
And signing up for like walkthroughs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. And were you using like GarageBand at the time, or?
So I there's a step up from GarageBand. It's called Logic Studio.
Yes, I have actually heard of that.
Yeah, which is it's actually an Apple product. You can buy it.
Okay.
I can't remember how much it is, like $200.
Okay.
And you can start just developing your own music.
Nice.
You put some drums and kicks and a bass, and then just got samples on top, and they've got some kind of internal plugins that you can use for your own instrumentation.
Okay.
And I just started to try to recreate the stuff that I like to listen to.
So before did you know you were going to, was this at UD?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
basically the beginning of my junior year is when I started dabbling.
Yeah. We'll talk about your first show.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because we have to talk about that.
What do you mean? The one in Daytona?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, pretty much my only show.
Yeah.
Opened up for Shaggy. I was selected as like a student performer.
Uh-huh.
And it's my claim to fame. Everybody knows me by it.
Right. That's right.
Sarcastically. No, it's it was a shining moment in my career.
How fun.
Yeah.
What kind of set did you do, and how long were you up there for?
It was mostly electronic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was up there for probably 45 minutes.
That's a pretty solid set.
No, it was pretty good. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Is there a recording of it at all?
We have it on somewhere. Spencer was recording it on the camera, nice. And there's a couple other kind of like phone shots, but
gotcha.
I have it.
Trusted Spencer with that?
He was on stage with me. He was like,
what?
He was my manager.
He was your what? Are you serious?
Manager.
Bro, who else though? Because he's the perfect person.
That's why he moved out to LA with me. He was gonna start doing some of that.
I don't think I realized that. I know he did. I knew he did like auditions and stuff. Yeah. Because I remember him doing like some screen tests or like filming some auditions when I visited. But I don't think I had realized that was like. So was this just like you had done that? Was that your senior year of spring break?
Senior, yeah, right after graduating senior year.
Oh, okay.
And then so right before I moved out to California.
So before you had done that set, were you committed to doing music in Cali? Yeah. Okay, so that was already going to be a thing.
Yeah. So I was like kind of prepping my persona.
Oh, okay.
Or practicing.
Gotcha.
And so I played a couple original songs during that set.
Nice.
And it went pretty well.
Sweet.
And then so I went out to California and started pursuing it a little bit further. Started working with some Grammy-winning producers on kind of the sound. Look, I did not grow up musically talented at all.
Sure.
I barely can play an instrument, but I get the computer science of it.
Sure.
Like the what you can do with a computer. I would consider myself pretty good at that.
Gotcha.
So I started really going after that full time.
I remember, yeah.
And it was a really cool experience.
So what were you were going to school?
Yeah, there was like a school for that. Just
and
nights.
And it wasn't just music though, was it? Because I'm thinking of your buddy, the director buddy.
Oh yeah, well he was doing it for music.
Okay, he was there for music.
Sound design for his productions.
Okay.
It was super cool. I mean, he was a director for a couple movies where Kristen Stewart was the star.
Yeah, Underwater. Which we saw.
Yeah.
So wait, and then we watched two of his. What was his name?
His name was Will.
Will
Eubanks.
Will Eubanks.
Yeah.
I remember the last name. So Will Eubanks. We watched one of his movies, and it had Lawrence Fishburne in it.
Yes.
Apparently, this just came up on my feed. It was a clip from that movie on Instagram, and it was someone talking over it. Apparently, that movie has gotten a little bit of a cult following.
I bet.
And
it's like very genre specific.
Very genre specific. And so and this was like a month ago or something. So I was just thinking about him.
Yeah, I have not. I've not seen any of his. I don't think he's created any notable works
since Underwater.
Since then,
yeah.
I would love to know what he's doing in life right now.
Yeah, shout out Will Eubanks.
Yeah, he was an awesome guy.
Yeah,
he was super awesome.
We did a double feature with Underwater in 1917.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah, he was really awesome to be around.
Yeah, he seemed like a cool dude. And his favorite movie, if it's a movie fact, I remember his favorite movie, or one of his favorite sci-fi movies, was with Natalie Portman.
Annihilation.
Yeah.
That came out when we were together.
Okay, gotcha.
That's also one of my favorite sci-fi.
It's a sick sci-fi movie.
It's a really like mind-bending. But
yes.
Like the sound design
is incredible.
All the stuff that he went to study.
Yeah.
So there's an artist called Mode Rat.
And I listened to that song. Yeah. There's a couple other songs I listened to. Yeah. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. So he was the producer for some of those, for that, most of that movie, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, moved out to California, and I was 21.
That's crazy.
Living on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
I lived in an apartment overlooking Hollywood Boulevard.
I remember the spot.
Honestly, I'm so glad
that you guys did that.
That we did that.
Yeah.
And well, it just works there with Kathleen.
That's what I was about to say. It's awesome that she was going to UCLA.
USC.
USC.
And then I did UCLA.
UCLA. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I had it mixed up. That she was there for a reason, and you were there for a reason. So you both had like a reason to be there, but we're also, got to obviously continue your relationship.
Growing up in Ohio, we both obviously grew up in Columbus. You don't know what Ohio is like until you leave it. Until you go somewhere else, until you remove yourself from this environment.
That's fair.
And that can be true for anybody in their home. If you go somewhere, if you grow up in a place and you haven't really left that for an extended period of time, I'm talking about 6 months or a year, you don't really know what home is like until you go to a new ecosystem.
Right, I get that.
And that's what we did, and I think the fact that we did that together, obviously really strengthened our relationship.
Yep.
Got married, and
all that.
Yeah, we did the whole thing, and even just the memories of those experiences, you coming out and visiting, and us going to Joshua Tree, climbing that mountain in Joshua Tree, which is probably still a top 5 memory in my entire life.
Oh, for sure. That entire day was out of a movie because
it was out of a movie. Because out of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
It was, exactly. And I remember when we were walking down and like my hat blew off. and we were talking about it. It was like
I had the black keys.
Yes, the black keys bumping.
It was the music.
Yes, it was like a meta thought. Yeah. And we were joking about it. And then I remember saying something along the lines of like, this would still be the best day of my life, or one of the best days of my life, if all that other stuff hadn't happened. And then the joke was like, the day starts now and it's still the best day ever. Yeah, that was an incredible day.
Yeah. It was definitely a top core memory of my life. Having the Black Keys Camino album blasting as we're walking down the mountain in the sunset.
Oh my gosh.
It really did. I mean, life does not get better than that.
It does not.
Yeah, lots of memories. I mean, we went to Malibu.
Yeah, Malibu
every other weekend. Too. Kathleen and I did. We found a private beach in Malibu that you could just walk into, and you didn't have to have a permit. You didn't have to know anybody.
We went.
Yeah. It's called Lechuza Beach, but it's right on a street called Bunny Lane, and so we just called it Bunny Lane.
Nice.
And we were there, like I said, every other weekend, and
so cool.
It's.
Did you live in 2 spots when you were there?
Yeah, so I had an apartment. I lived in 3 spots.
Three spots.
An apartment by myself, a 1-bedroom.
Before living with Spencer?
Before living with Spencer.
Oh, okay.
Which was still one of my favorite places I've ever lived in. Just like being myself, that young, having a place to myself, being responsible for your livelihood, and
so dope.
in that ecosystem. Oh, it was amazing. Bro. And then probably 8 to 12 months later was when Spencer moved out and we got the next apartment.
Okay.
And then eventually Kathleen and I moved in together.
Yes.
Because
the first time
Kathleen's place was incredibly.
That was awesome.
It's so nice.
Because did I visit 2 times or 3 times?
Definitely 2 times. I don't know
at least
about 3.
2.
Yeah. You remember? So the one time you visited was the day that Mac Miller died.
Yes.
You were on a plane when
yes.
Mac Miller died.
And I told you about my accident.
Yes, and then
that was summer of 2018.
I was like, Jake, I got some news. Mac Miller's dead. You're
Yeah.
like, Alex, I got some news. I almost died last week.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. Because that would have been September then. It had to have been September.
Yeah.
September 2018. Yeah, well, I thought you were messing with me when you told me Mac Miller died. I was like, huh, good one. I like didn't get the joke. And you were like, no, serious. Because Kanor was also there, and I remember he was going off about it.
Yeah.
He was having like a rant. But yeah, that was that... Was that the first time I visited you?
I think so.
I think so, because I don't think I did.
Yeah, then the second time you came was when we were about to move back.
When you moved back, yeah. I think that's what it is.
Which that road trip was also core memory.
Yeah, that's a core memory. I think that we'll get to that, but that to me was a life-changing trip, and I'll tell you why later. But the music thing, what did you do like when you were doing it? I remember you like did some mixing for some artists there. Like what were you doing with it when you were there?
I created my own
Alex Lumitri.
There's a couple different names I was running with. There was so there was like my own music that I was making myself. And that was like my intention, like my end game was to like I was gonna make my own music, and
I remember some of them. Yeah,
I was trying to still exploring what it was going to be. Was it going to be myself? I started like doing some vocal exercises, like could I sing on top of it? And I'm not a very good singer.
You and me both, brother.
But hey, if you do vocal exercises for 6 months and you do it really hard, you actually get pretty good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I had I remember I would drive to class at UCLA, and I would just, instead of listening to something, I would just put on vocal exercises.
Oh,
and I would just
nice.
do
that's
like,
hardcore.
Like the do re mi fa so and all of the others. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. I do all of those. And
that's so funny.
Not a lot of people know this.
No,
but
now at least 30 will.
Yes. And I was like, okay, I might sing on top of my stuff that I make. I might songwrite. But it's still going to be kind of foundationally electronic, and maybe there might be some instruments brought into it. Maybe some other people will play. So it's just trying to figure that out. But I also did a lot of mixing and mastering for other artists around me. So mixing and mastering is essentially like the sonic tuning and the sonic kind of forming around a recorded music. So like if you have a band, they go in the studio, they record their song. You just have a bunch of audio files that need to be, the frequencies need to be ducked on certain things. There need to be some things.
What's
like
ducked?
Like you need to take out a certain, like the low end of a vocal recording to kind of trim off the low end to ensure that the bass comes in more clearly.
Okay. So that like the bass of the voice doesn't interfere with the bass of whatever.
Yeah. So like each instrument needs its own frequency space.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of the mixing side of things, and some other, and it gets pretty complicated, but you need to kind of side chain the kick to the piano or whatever it may be. I mean, it's pretty robust. And so I did a lot of that, and then I did some mastering, and the mastering is kind of the final step in the music making process, which is you have a recorded piece of music, you mix the files together, and then eventually you create one audio file. It's like an MP3 file.
Gotcha.
But that MP3 file is still not totally finished yet. It goes to a mastering engineer, which then kind of like trims and ducks the frequencies on that single file.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so that's kind of the last process before you make it radio ready, and eventually goes to the studio. That's why, like you heard Taylor Swift bought the masters to her music.
Yes,
that's what that is. It's like that's the kind of last file.
Yeah,
the last process.
We all need to listen to all that shit again.
I still need to clear something up. Did we go see Taylor Swift in the Lancaster Music Festival?
That is my understanding. Okay, but I also didn't really know who Taylor Swift was. I can reach out to M.
I already did.
Oh, and she said no
a while ago.
Okay,
and she does not recall that.
She doesn't recall the whole thing.
No, she doesn't recall
Oh,
that it was Taylor Swift.
I was like, that was fun.
No, she recalls the whole thing. She does not recall that it was Taylor Swift.
Okay, well,
but that's what I've told people.
I'm just gonna tell people
for a long time.
I mean, that's
like
fine.
I saw Taylor Swift in front of like 100 people,
right,
in Lancaster when she was 17 years old,
right.
And that's the only time I've ever seen her,
right.
We were what, 14?
Yeah, I mean, I might have been 8th grade. 13? I might have been 13. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like me, you, M, and Megan Miller.
Yeah,
yeah. That was fun though.
It was a lot of fun, but I'm pretty sure it was Taylor Swift. Like I don't know why I'd be making that up.
No, I mean, I wouldn't care otherwise. Like, yeah. No, I agree with you.
Because she was still emerging onto the scene at that time.
For sure. No, I'm okay if we say that. I don't feel bad about that if that ends up not being true either.
Yeah.
I thought it was at the time, so what are you gonna do?
But so yeah, did all of that in LA while studying at UCLA, environmental systems at UCLA.
Environmental systems.
Yeah.
Explain.
It wasn't technically a master's degree, but it was like an extension of your undergraduate education.
Okay. Is this separate from the data science stuff that you did?
Yeah. So
okay. Thank you.
Another thing,
right,
with data science, which was a really hard program.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, I guess the theme is that I was still exploring myself.
Yes.
And what I wanted to do. I think the one thing that was always foundational was my interest in business.
Okay. Throughout
since freshman year in high school.
Okay.
I took a course.
Frustaci.
Yeah, Eva Frustaci.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite.
Shout out. She was cool.
I
took personal finance with her.
Favorite teacher ever. She is the reason. She's the reason why I do what I do.
Nice. Shout out. That's sick.
It's because of her. And I want to tell that to her.
You should tell her that. I think that would, make any teachers.
Yeah. But anyway, did that freshman year. Took 2 years of International Baccalaureate course in
IB.
Yeah, IB in high school, and then studied information systems and entrepreneurship in undergraduate. So that and then did the data science stuff, which is like more technical, business recommendations, leveraging statistics. And
real quick.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were not going to do music? And what was that like?
I think it was when I made the choice to move back to Columbus.
Okay. And how was that?
Well, it's multifactorial. I mean, Kathleen and I were getting more serious.
Sure.
And, I just realized that to be a successful musician was just not the life I wanted to.
Okay.
And if I choose to do something, I want to do it well. That means you have to go out and tour. That means you have to go out and really dedicate, and put yourself in front of people. And
right.
It's just, I don't know why it eventually just dawned on me that might not be the life I wanted to lead.
Mm-hmm.
I still really liked it, and I thought I was going to do a lot more of it when I moved back to Columbus. Not as this was going to be my full.
But you thought it was going to be more of a hobby?
Yeah, I thought it'd be, hey, I'd, do a lot more of this. And I don't know. Like I said, I never grew up being a musician.
Right.
It's something that I picked up, in a time where I was trying to find myself, and I really liked it. And I think the one thing that it really instilled on me.
Okay.
That I don't think I ever was taught well.
Okay.
This lesson growing up, which was failure is okay.
Elaborate.
So when you're making music, you got to put it in front of people and have them react to it.
Right.
And
objectively and subjectively.
Yes. And you got to do that
a lot of times.
Uh-huh.
You got to go out and play it in front of people. You got to go out and text it to people and showcase it. And you can't be afraid of doing that.
For sure.
And, I was always kind of taught like failure is not an option.
Gotcha.
Where in the creative space, failure is like a necessity.
It's part of the process.
It is.
It's the creative process, I'm sure.
And that was, I think, the biggest lesson that I learned.
Good for you.
While doing that. And I still take that to work with me every day.
That's awesome.
So anyways, that was like the big takeaway, even though, it wasn't the professional manifestation that I might have dreamed of when I was 21.
Sure. And that's okay.
Playing and introing for Shaggy.
You know why it didn't work out? I'll tell you. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I wasn't your drummer.
You would have been such a great drummer. You would have been such a great drummer.
So I think this was either before. This must have been right before you moved, or it would have been the summer. Did you visit summer of 2018 before I visited you? Like, were you back in town at all?
I can't remember.
Regardless, I remember you came to my parents' house and you were like, bro, you need to learn how to play the drums. And then you need to come on tour with me. And I was like, what? I'm not going to learn how to play the drums. I am musically illiterate. I was like, you couldn't have asked a worse person. I'm flattered.
You on a drum set.
Oh, I would. I mean, it would be like as far as like vibes go.
Yeah.
My drummer face would be epic for sure.
Totally. You would have had the hair for it. You would have done everything.
Yeah, because I still had hair when I was a park ranger. Yeah. Bro.
Yeah, that's a I wish that dream could have happened for us, but maybe in another life.
Alas, in the multiverse, bro. We did it. And we're crushing it. I know it. Don't even worry. Okay, yeah. So you move back from California in summer of 2019.
Yeah, like 6 months before the pandemic.
Yeah. Summer 2019 was awesome. That was a super formative time for me. And I remember when, that was an amazing trip. Like driving back. The whole thing was great.
I want to take a moment to explain that the area of America between Sedona and Aspen is the coolest landscape.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, it's mountainous, but also desert, but also green.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And the Navajo inspiration, culture, Southwest, kind of like that south, like northern Arizona, southern Utah, into western Colorado is just...
It's so beautiful.
I mean, it's like Clint Eastwood.
Yes. Yeah. It was one of the easiest drives I ever did, just because everything was... It was like driving through planet Mars or something, It was just so unique.
The Grand Canyon's there.
Yes, an alien.
By the way, do you know when we went to Colorado, the Independence Pass? That's like 12,000 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Above sea level?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Which is the highest elevation.
In America?
Now, here, want to know another tangent here.
Please.
I may, I haven't gotten approval from the boss, but I may climb Mount Kilimanjaro next year.
Oh, the boss being your wife?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
With some work connections.
Okay, gotcha.
I may do that, which I think I need to jump through a few hurdles to make that happen first. But that's 19,000 feet.
I fully support it. That would be so awesome. And someone who has climbed some mountains and might have done Kilimanjaro, as in Emily Huddle.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I think she has done
I think she did Kilimanjaro.
She crushes it.
Mm-hmm.
On some alpine climbs.
Yeah, I probably talk to her like once or twice a year, but Yeah, no, I think that would be an incredible adventure for you.
Yeah, I'd love it. It's been a bucket list thing for me. Because I remember my grandparents went to Africa.
Okay.
I mean, geez, late 2000s?
I do not remember that.
And they still talk about it. I mean, they have pictures of the safari all over their house.
Very cool.
And I just remember them talking so highly about it. They did not climb Kilimanjaro, but
sure. Yeah, I mean, it would have been in the 70s.
But I just remember that, and I want to do that because I know how much they liked it.
Epic.
Yeah,
very epic.
No, back to 2019 summer.
Yeah, so that was formative for me because I had graduated because I did 5 years at OU. Fuck, this was the year after. I had graduated and was living with Sean, and I hated my job, and I was in this mindset of just like self-improvement.
Yep.
Like so hard because I had the best time at OU. The best. You can't do it. There's people who might have done it as good and in different versions. But as far as like the Jake version of OU, I could not have done it better.
Yeah.
That being said, Athens did in fact happen to me. And I wasn't as school oriented as I probably should have been. I also didn't know what I wanted to do, which is very challenging. I was a little bit aimless in more ways than one. But all that to say, I was in this big like self-improvement sort of mindset, and I was just kind of getting into the podcast scene. Like I listened to a handful here and there. I was like, okay,
because we listened to a ton of podcasts on our way back,
right? And so that this is where this gets a little bit formative. And Sean had introduced Becoming Supernatural to me, which is also very formative because I'm also a very positive person, and so this book was just like kind of like, hey, this sort of imagination that you have, you can sort of just like will possibility into existence. And that just is my language. I was like, oh, excellent. That's great. And it almost gave me permission to like kind of give into that version of myself a little bit more. And so, fly out to LA, we do a hike in Sedona.
Yep.
We eat at that lovely restaurant, Mariposa.
Overlooking the Red Rocks.
Hang out with the homies that we made friends with. And just had an overall awesome drive, and stay at BT's fam's house. Yeah, that was awesome. But we were just hammering podcasts.
Yep.
And we did a meditation. On what's the passage?
Independence Pass.
Independence Pass. We pulled over and we did a meditation, which was awesome.
It was awesome.
And that's I was getting into that, and we listened to a podcast called The Drive, which you and I had listened to before.
Peter
Attia. And on it, he had Jocko Willink.
Yep.
And Jocko, to me, was so funny. And the thing that made me laugh, and I remember just like thinking, this guy's ridiculous.
He's a movie character.
Yeah. And he was asking Jocko if he ever had any regrets about not doing something as much as he could have. He was like, I don't think so, but there might have been a time when I could have paddled a little further, and I was paddling. And I could have paddled more, but I didn't care about it. And so I just turned back and paddled the other direction. And throughout the podcast, he had listed all of these achievements and just like his mindset and his discipline equals freedom. And I just thought that was so funny. I mean, this guy is so hardcore and doesn't care. Like, it doesn't bother him. It's not effortless.
Yeah.
But it is.
It's
natural. It's natural. The habits are so ingrained, and he's so about it. And it for me, that was almost like permission to kind of go there, because I wouldn't say I would. In certain regards, I've always been very frugal with my money, so I've been fairly disciplined in that regard.
Yeah.
I was always good with fitness. Like I stayed on top of that throughout college. But I was lacking transferring discipline to other realms of my life. And that was kind of like the permission to be like, let's go, because I was kind of on the fence. Because when I went to OU, I was straight edge in high school, and I sort of swung way the other side, and I was cautious about swinging way all the way back.
Yeah.
And what I realized, one, is you're behind, and two, you actually you almost can't swing too far into the sort of discipline realm. I mean, you can overdo it and not rest enough or that sort of thing, but I would argue that isn't if you are going so hard that you hinder your recovery and then take yourself out of the game.
Yeah.
That's not intelligent. That's not smart. That's not disciplined.
Sure. Right.
But so for me, that was just like this huge, dude, you can just go all out. And I don't know why I needed permission to do that, but
you need inspiration.
Yeah, I needed the inspiration. And then so I remember going back, I'm like, okay, where else is this Jocko guy on? And I found, he did Rogan. He's on this, he's on that. I'm like, okay. And then I listened to a podcast where he says, oh, this is my favorite podcast. I'm like, well, I got to listen to that. and now now I have a podcast. And so, and that's all. I don't listen to that much music anymore. And so that drive back was super pivotal for me, because I came back and I was already on the path of like getting better.
Yeah.
I had already had the accident where like I'm just like alive.
Right.
And probably, well, I don't know about shouldn't be, but could have not been. And
that's right.
And then I think I caught up on all this. And then I just listened to that podcast. I'm like, okay, you know what, dude? We're all in. We're all in on life, baby.
Yeah.
And so that was really big for me, and that was very formative going forward. So I look very fondly upon that drive and our time together.
Yeah, it was
and bringing you home. I got to bring you home.
That's right.
Yeah, I got to bring you back.
Safe and sound.
Uh-huh.
Not a scratch on me.
Yeah. You know, your mom has trusted me quite a bit, I feel like.
And there's no choice.
There's no choice. I am the one who was there. So, this is the guy. We have no choice. That's funny.
We've been doing it since we were 6, and here we are.
Here we are.
Not a broken bone.
Not a broken bone.
Which is very, thankful, given all the stuff that we have done in our past.
That's true. So, yeah. I mean, I can't say that, like, I did anything to help you come home. Yeah. But, so I don't know if I ever told you this. Senior year at Siesta, she dropped us off at the beach.
Okay.
At evening. And she knew it was going down there. Not that you and I actually did anything bad. But you got out of the car and she looked at me. She's like, no drinking. and like with the intent, like I'm supposed to be in charge of that. And then flash forward to your 21st birthday, which is another legendary night. Your mom says, okay, just make sure. She was like something along the line, like just make sure everything's like cool for the night. Just keep everyone in line. And like, this is me. We're at your dad's house. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And your dad over here, so he comes over here and he's like, no one needs to keep anyone in line. It's going to be okay. And then he looks at me and he's like, but make sure everyone stays in line. And just totally doubled down on it. I'm like, all right, like I'll handle it. Yeah. I mean, I didn't handle anything. Mullins and I handled it.
Yeah, exactly. We know. I think the thing that you and I have really mastered in our friendship is the boundaries. We know like how to push the boundaries.
Yes.
So that we are careful enough.
Yes.
To not have significant risks.
Yes.
But we know how to push the boundaries enough to really explore and have fun.
Yeah. I think so. Oh, this is already done. Okay, sorry.
And I think that carries to a decent amount of aspects in life to know, like, if you want to push something and you want to push something hard, like, to know.
Well, you have to know how to toe the line.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's how you explore. Like,
Yeah.
you need to know where the line is. And there's a reason the line is there, but you also have to know if you don't get to it, you don't know how far to go.
That's exactly right.
And I'm a firm believer in that for sure. Yeah.
So where are we in the story of Alex?
Yeah. So you come back home. You thought music was going to be a bigger part, and it wasn't. And this is when did you start data science?
That was still while I was in California. So I finished it right when I moved back to Ohio.
And it was a rigorous program.
Yeah, it was 8 month, 12 hours a day.
Gross.
Yeah. Not the weekends, but
you like school.
I do. I like learning.
Oh, well, I mean,
I like learning about things.
I like learning
that I'm curious about.
Okay, well, I guess that's fair.
I don't like things that I'm forced to learn.
Oh, brother, I understand. I get it. Preaching the choir.
And so, yeah, that was a really strong program. I mean, it was really technical. I mean,
and who was it through? Like, what was this?
It was through this school called Flatiron Engineering. It's based out of New York. So it's all remote
hence the
based.
Flatiron.
I like to claim that I was a Zoom pro before the pandemic.
Nice.
Because
Congrats.
of this program.
Good for you.
It's because the program was all remote.
Nice.
So it was just kind of all like peer-to-peer coding exercises, and you're in a cohort. Our cohort was 12 people.
What's a cohort?
A group of people that are working on something at the same time for an extended period of time.
There you have it. Excellent.
So our cohort was 12-ish people. There's a couple of people that dropped out. And we were just hammering out coding exercises for, that period of time, and eventually presented like a final recommendation, which the final recommendation I made was actually a machine learning prediction model for wildfires. For California,
that's sick.
For the state of California.
I don't think they used it.
They did not. Which is funny because like Google is working on a similar project. Now the engineering team is probably much more robust than
sure.
me,
of course,
solo
of
dolo.
course, of course.
But no, it was actually a really pretty robust prediction model. And
what do you mean by that?
Meaning that I had a really strong accuracy given the factors. So like we had a bunch of data. We inputted a data set and we had a bunch of data, and we just analyzed it and created some recommendations, which is so funny because that took us, I don't know, 2-3 weeks to kind of like make a full recommendation.
Okay. And
now these AI platforms like ChatGPT and Perplexity can do that within 10 minutes, like the same task.
Wow.
That we did. It took us 3 weeks to do it. And that can happen in less than 10 minutes.
Golly.
And I finished that in 2019, and here we are in 2025. And 6 years later, we've pretty much automated everything that I learned.
Well, I mean, that's the fear, right?
It's so funny because like the people who created these AI models essentially just automated their own workflow.
Right. That's like,
awesome, but like it's so funny because we always thought like artificial intelligence would automate like the boring jobs away, like the distribution centers and the cashiers, and here we are like the top of the line white collar jobs. We're basically saying we've built a model that's going to do our job for us.
Right. Interesting.
Anyways,
yeah.
That's so that's why I did data science, was because I knew artificial intelligence was right around the corner.
Okay. I don't think I realized that. Like I don't think I realized that. Maybe you had said something.
I knew AI. So I read a book called Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom, which I
remember you talking about that
somewhere
here. This is starting to bring up some memories.
Somewhere in this.
What color is it?
It's white.
It's white. Oh, okay.
It's honestly the most complicated book I have ever read, and I don't know where it is. It's one of the most mind-boggling, complicated books I've ever read. I think he wrote it in 2015, 2016. Around that time.
Gotcha.
And it basically was talking about the singularity event and how these new AI models are right around the corner. And he was right.
Yeah,
he's totally right.
Yeah,
and so I recognized that, and I'm like, I got to learn more about this. And I kind of had a background in that in my undergraduate education, and then I was like,
A background in which part?
In computer science.
Okay.
So I studied management information systems, which is like the fusion of computer science and business. And,
MIS.
And then, kind of, I was not satisfied with my technical coding and programming knowledge as a developer. And so I wanted to kind of do that more from a statistics standpoint, and then did the data science program.
Okay.
And I wanted to kind of be on the forefront of that. And that's what built a really strong foundation for what I know about AI.
Gotcha. And so you said you finished this right before you moved back, or
when I moved back. So like I moved back in July of 2019, and then
now I was right into the apartment off of town.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I moved back to my mom's house for like 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Because I was still finishing up the program, wanted to find a full-time job, and then I would be able to move in with Kathleen at that point. So I was kind of back and forth with like moving at her place.
You know what? Do
you remember that?
Well, now I'm spacing. Sort of. I was about to sort of tangent, because I was like, well, where did we? Cause remember when we watched like some of the Star Wars movies before Rise of Skywalker came out? But that was at your apartment. I thought that was at your mom's for a second, but that was at your apartment.
Yeah.
Because I remember Kath came by and was like, "Oh, you guys, 2 peas in a pod." I don't know why that wasn't a great
Irish accent.
I don't know why that came out that way. I have
2
no
peas
clue.
in a pod.
I mean, she is Irish, but not like that. So I don't know what that was. But anyways, but yeah. So you finished that. You're living at your mom's, and then you and Kath move in.
Yeah. So I got my first kind of full-time gig. Was with a group called Health 2047, which is
I remember
the venture arm of the American Medical Association. So it's in the healthcare field. So we built like 8 companies and then invested like $60 million in those companies to solve like system level healthcare problems.
And that's what the companies were solving, those problems that you built.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was like,
and how'd you get involved with them?
There was a local connection. His name is Rich Langdale, who started dabbling into it, and he's like, hey, we need some kind of entry-level product management skill set, and do you just want to come on and help for a little bit?
Sweet.
And I said, of course.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So the firm's based out of Silicon Valley, and we had I was helping with some of that operation. We were doing a lot of Columbus-based initiatives too.
Yeah, boy.
And then we got this we were going to transform healthcare in Columbus. That was our mission.
Okay.
And we got all of the big leaders in Columbus around a table, all of the big the CEOs of the hospitals, everything related to healthcare. And we launched that on February 15th, 2020.
Oh. I didn't realize it timed out like that.
2 weeks later was the pandemic.
I did not realize it timed out like that.
2 weeks later was the pandemic. And so all of our Columbus stuff came to a screeching halt. And the whole healthcare system did, because it was no time to solve future problems. We all got to solve the current problem at hand, which is preventing COVID from infiltrating the lives of many. And that's when we're kind of stuck in the mud for a little bit. And so I was with the firm for about 2 years until I spun out and started my own company.
Didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
Time is messing with me.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk takeaways from Health 2024. What did you say it was called? I'm building this Lego.
The firm's called Health 2047. So
2047.
essentially the vision
Same thing.
It's not a great name.
No, it's not.
It's hard to remember the years of everything. So essentially, the American Medical Association wanted to transform healthcare radically by the year 2047. So it's what was that? Yeah, it was founded in 2017. So it's
I mean, that's kind of cool when you know the meaning behind the name.
Yeah, so it's kind of a 3-decade long process.
Nice. Okay. Well, I like that.
Yeah, but it's it's a futuristic vision, and then the pandemic happened, and then we can't think about the future because we got to solve the problem of now.
Right. Well, that was tough. Couldn't have seen that coming.
Yeah. So, anyways, and then was with them for a while, and the team there was brilliant. I mean, some of the smartest people. Everybody had a PhD from Harvard or or Wharton.
Oh
or,
boy,
wherever it was.
top dogs.
Yeah, it was a really strong team. They had some issues with execution at some points, but it was I was really blessed to have the opportunity to work with them. The execution thing was certainly a result of the pandemic, right?
Sure, and a great learning experience, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so spun out and started my own company.
And so now I'm very aware of this, a lot more aware of this part. But talk about what it started as, your initial pitch of the company.
So
it's a lot. It's actually very relevant to what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like kind of picking that up a little.
So like when I was with that firm, I basically did a deep dive into the system level of healthcare, and so like undergraduate education was information systems. So it's like understanding how information flows within an organization and,
nice.
and databases and et cetera. Uh-huh. And then at UCLA, I studied environmental systems. So it's understanding how different processes within the environment interact with one another. And then within the Health 24/7 was the healthcare system. So,
right.
So all that linear experience was when
I love it. I love a narrative.
With systems, like in complex systems. Healthcare is certainly one of the most complex systems out there. It's really difficult to understand the multifaceted players and the big institutions and between insurance and providers and hospital systems and pharmaceutical PBMs. It's very complex. And so
no doubt
I did a deep dive with the firm to understand what the health, all the ins and outs of it. And eventually created this notion or this thesis to incentivize the adoption of healthy behavior given financial rewards.
Right.
And the only way to do that was through insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so insurance within healthcare has the lowest net promoter score of any industry. So the net promoter score is essentially like 0 out of 10. How much do you like this product?
Okay. Gotcha.
And
sure.
Insurance within healthcare has the lowest net promoter score of any, like airlines.
Dang.
Sports.
Do you know what it is?
It's like between 0 and 100. I think it's like at a 4. It might be like
sucks.
I don't have off the top of my head what it is right
sure.
now at the present time, but it's something around pretty terrible. And so
sure.
And I've certainly experienced a lot of it. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced problems with health insurance.
Tay was literally on the phone today with our health insurance from 2024. Because we got a hospital bill.
Yeah.
Literally today. Yeah. From a year and 5 months ago.
Yep.
And she texted me this. I was like, what the F is that?
That's how it works.
And luckily the dude that she talked to is awesome, but basically just the billing company, not necessarily the hospital itself, whoever was billing.
Yep. There's entire clearinghouses and billing companies.
Yep. They were. It sounds like they were just trying to bill us again. I don't know. I really don't understand, but
so sometimes it's malicious, sometimes it's not. The software infrastructure and the databases within healthcare, you don't know what you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolates in healthcare.
Wow, that was good.
So
bag one.
Wow. That was hard.
That was hard. For reference, here, hold it up for the camera. Bag one.
This is embarrassing. Don't listen to anything I said about my Millennium Falcon experience.
Just for reference, it will look like this. So we have the base of the building.
We have the foundation. Yeah, maybe we should just
bail.
Bail.
I'm having a good time. We can just bail.
Much more easy to converse when you're focused in.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good idea.
It's a good idea while it lasted.
Yeah, while it lasted.
How long did that take us? Like an hour to get the
brethren. How long we've been doing this for 2 hours.
We've been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there was like 12 minutes of intro, but we've been cooking. Anyways, keep going.
So what I was working on from like a
thesis standpoint was using biometric devices, Apple Watches, Fitbits, Garmin, Samsungs, Oura Rings, you name it.
Yes.
To collect data on a user, create a baseline.
Any and all biometrics.
We could possibly find. Create a baseline, and then reward folks who come onto our insurance plan at the end of the month with rebates or rewards.
Right.
So let's say you pay,
I remember this,
$300 for your insurance plan. You could get $50 back at the end of the month. Given
if you didn't smoke, or your HRV went up, or resting heart rate's dropping, or you drop weight, whatever.
Yeah, so we'll have a baseline for people, and then we'll understand the fluctuations, between HRV and steps, and it's kind of hard to standardize the biometrics, but that's what we were gonna go for, and we collected a lot of data, and we're pretty strong with what we initially thought, but to launch an insurance policy in the healthcare system in the state of Ohio, to have a kind of a baseline reserve rate, which is like, you got to have some money in the bank in case the policyholders all come on, and let's say they all come down with stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, COVID.
And so you have to have certain capital reserve.
Right.
And so in order to sell one policy, we had to raise $15 million.
Wow.
And so that's like the barrier in the insurance space.
Barrier to entry. The barrier to entry. 15 mil for one policy
is in one state.
Right.
And so it was.
And I think if you're listening to this, that really is illuminating for just the amount of capital that is in healthcare.
And so there was a couple companies that had come before us that not were doing the biometric stuff, but that were kind of like next generation insurance companies. They all had raised north of $1 billion each, and they went public, and they were at like a $10 billion valuation, and within 6 months, most of them lost like 90% of their market value. So they're basically back even to the amount of capital that they raised, or some of them were even certainly below that. And so like a lot of the investors that we were talking to, like, hey, we like what you're doing. This is a really strong team. It's really capital intensive market, and your predecessors don't look too great. And so, keep us informed, but this might not be a fit for us right now.
Was your team at the time the same team that you ended up with when you did the pivot?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, we had some people on the periphery, like some contractors and some other, our legal team and our insurance underwriting team that were kind of all contract work at that point. But so we let them go when we made a pivot. But that was, I mean, it was certainly a tough moment for us because we couldn't raise the money. We just couldn't go out there, and we picked something really hard. We picked a really hard problem. We picked a problem that we were really passionate about and believe needs solving, and still needs solving today. I mean, we there's not a company that's gone out there and really fixed the insurance space.
No.
So most of the big carriers like United Healthcare, Aetna, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, most of them I think were created or founded in 1970 or earlier.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And so there hasn't been like a disruption in healthcare in a very long time, and that's why it is the way it is today, because the barrier to entry is so high, and so there's not new technological adopters to come out and kind of steal market share. There's one called Oscar that's probably done the best, but they still have a sliver of the market share.
Okay.
So we made the pivot, and then
real quick before, how did you you're beginning a startup. How did you find your team? Like, what was the initial process like? How did you execute on that?
You just get in front of as many people as you possibly can, and you start to sell your vision. And you think about it very logically. You think about it very business oriented. Problem solution thinking, and you get in front of mentors and investors that you may know, or your family knows, or that are in the same
industry or space, and you just start building kind of this network and these nodes. And then sometimes, let's say this node doesn't quite pan out the way you think it is, but you then ask like, hey, can you connect me to 3 other people that you think may be interested? And so you start to grow this network and you start to build this ecosystem around this idea.
Where did you get the I don't know if it's confidence or the know-how to network with these folks? Like, is that something that you felt like you'd built up over time, or like?
I don't know. I think this is natural.
Yeah.
To me to I just love like creating new things.
Okay.
Creating new ideas and sharing them with people and see how they react.
So would you say that your idea, were you calling it U-Lead at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Initial version U-Lead, would you say that it was exciting enough for you as a new idea, as like a child, more or less?
Yeah, it is a child.
Right. That the networking was just a means to an end. So it was like, okay, this is just a thing I have to do.
Yeah,
and
part of the process.
I care more about getting this thing out there than I do about any sort of nerves or any sort of like thing I have to learn on the fly.
You must do it.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha. You must do it. I like that. And so if you lack resolve, if you don't actually care that much.
When you are lying awake at night thinking about an idea and a way to solve it, and you're arranging the puzzle pieces in your head, and you're awake at 3 a.m. and you still can't go to sleep because your mind's just racing thinking about it, that's when you know you have to do something. And that's like the plight of an entrepreneur, is that you're addicted to solving the problem which you're so passionate about. And that's what, inspiration strikes, and I had to do something about it.
Totally.
And so started building that network, and then found the team. I can't remember exactly how I found Heath, but
was he just off Cover My Meds?
No, that was Mike.
Okay, that was Mike.
So Mike was just finished Cover My Meds. When they went through an acquisition, and Mike was senior director of engineering at that time. And then Heath he exited a company, his startup that he was a part of. That company was sold to an acquirer, and he was trying to figure out, what was the next move for him. Because typically when a startup is bought by another company, there's a lot of turnover, and there's just a lot of like leadership changes, and sometimes people want to stay because there's additional incentives. Some people want to go because they want to start something new. Heath was one of those people, and gosh, I love Heath so much. He's such a good person. He's such a great person. And we got together for some coffee meetings, and then we just started hitting it off, and he was a lot more knowledgeable about the healthcare space than I was. Like,
how old are you at this time?
25.
Nice. Wow. And Heath was like early mid 30s.
He's 36
now.
30. He was 36.
Okay, at the time. Gotcha.
He's
probably 40 now. 41.
Just turned 40. He's a music guy too.
Cool. Oh, nice.
He played music, and so we bonded on that too. And then he had worked at United Healthcare, one of the biggest insurance company. And he certainly understood. He had been a part of like various facets of the healthcare system, at the insurance side, the provider side, the kind of doctor side too. And he just loved the idea, and we started working on it, and one thing led to the next. After 6 months, he's like, yeah, let's do this full time. And then we were like, we got to find a technical co-founder, someone who understands the engineering side of things. And that's when we go out and started searching for Mike. And Mike, after a couple months, was kind of on board with it too. And we came together and founded the company. I mean, that period is just like adrenaline is on high.
I can only imagine.
You're raising money, you're talking to investors, you're trying to like build something from nothing. It's
all potential. So like you're like geared up on the idea itself.
And we knew if we executed really well, the upside was going to be incredible. I mean, just if you solve this problem, I mean, the upside is tremendous. And so I had a lot of people believe in me, investors, family, whatever it is. And it just fueled the fire. And we went out and built, I think at our peak, we had about 20 people.
And this is pre-pivot still?
I can't remember if it was pivot or after.
Because I want to make sure you cover. Obviously, you talked about what caught the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
But what did that realization look like, and then and then how did you pivot to what it
we
became?
just couldn't raise the 15 million.
Right, of course.
And it was just wrong timing. We were probably 6 to 12 months too late. Because at this point, there was it was the 2021 big capital boom, and there was a lot of venture capital flowing around. People were raising 20 million left and right, and
it was like post-COVID excitement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we had just kind of finished our model at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. We went out and really started raising at the beginning of 2022, and we were just too late. Really, I mean, really too late by just a hair.
So how did the three of you then come to the conclusion of what you ended up doing?
We were in a bad spot for a while. We didn't have much money left, and we knew we wanted to do something together. Like we knew we wanted to.
Like this is a team right here.
Yeah, this is a team, and we got to figure out what we want. And we knew we wanted to like get away from this barrier to entry thing. Like get away from the capital intensity, the barrier to entry, like the difficult and just trying to get one win. So we wanted to kind of work on something that you could get some traction a lot quicker. And so we wanted to stay in the healthcare space. Of course, that was the problem we still were passionate about solving.
Okay.
We built this kind of mindset that it was health happens outside of healthcare.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true.
And so like preventative health.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, you're talking my language. Yeah.
Because like the traditional healthcare system is so reactive.
Sick care.
Yeah, it's symptom care, sick care. We wanted to do something that was like in the proactive space. And the only way to do that, which we thought we were going to have to build outside of the healthcare system. And so we built this marketplace that connected non-traditional healthcare providers, which was like your acupuncturists, your physical therapists, your counselors, your Reiki, your doulas, like all of these people who kind of sit around the periphery of healthcare but work on prevention. Chiropractors. So we built a marketplace to aggregate them we built the software to kind of run their infrastructure and their business. And then we built the other side of the platform for consumers to explore the various options which are in their local region.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the Yelp meets health, like wellness. And we built that
to OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's kind of like the OnlyFans without the nudity.
Right.
And so we built that to about 500 healthcare providers and then about 10,000 customers. And we're moving and grooving on that model, getting a lot of traction, hosting a lot of events around the city, getting just amazing feedback.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah. And then, we were still kind of low on capital, so we needed to go out and raise some money. And then the week after that was when the Silicon Valley Bank collapse happened.
Okay. I'm not aware of this.
So the Silicon Valley Bank is basically like the bank every startup uses to store their money. And so you go out and raise $3 million from an investor, and then you just use Silicon Valley Bank to put that money in. For some reason, I can't quite remember what it was, but everybody took out their money from Silicon Valley Bank.
Oh.
And that caused the bank to fail.
Gotcha. Sure. Yeah.
There was a run on the bank, and so every single startup was like, and every single investor was they're just like, this is the be all end all of the venture ecosystem, and didn't invest any money for the next 6 months.
Dang.
I'm not contributing like that to the sole demise of the company, but like it definitely hurt our fundraising chances. And we were not at the place where we had enough user adoption and enough revenue to really kind of shock an investor and say, oh, this is something I need to go in on right now.
Sure.
We were still kind of like, we had a lot of traction, but we were kind of still a little bit of like a hope and a dream.
Well, if I recall, like part of the challenge was just like, because, someone like me, a personal trainer, let's say, if I'm on Elite and I'm offering my services, I'm the one setting the price.
Yeah.
And so you're also sort of just limited also by what the users are setting their price point at as well.
And we didn't have the software to like totally run all of their business operations yet. We might have tried to do a little bit too much too fast on that side of things. We could have started somewhere else and gotten a lot more traction. I mean, this is all hindsight.
Sure, of course. It's hard to...
maybe we could have done. But we just didn't have the revenue numbers to sustain ourselves, and couldn't raise the money. And so we had to shut down the business like in October or November 23. Yeah. Yeah. So we had to kind of let go of everybody. We had probably like 8 people at that time. We had 20 people kind of like, around us in one form or another, as advisors or as, employees or as contractors. And then, just, it didn't work the way we all wanted it to. And that was tough.
What, Nina? Who am I thinking of? Who was the name of your lady? Marina.
Yeah.
Marina. What was her role and what did she do?
She was a superstar.
So I still follow her on Instagram. I think her Instagram handle is Nina Stardust.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to get to know her, and then she's going to be on the pod. I have a list of people, and she's on there.
I'll intro you. I got to get together with her. She is a superstar.
She's so cool. She just had a kiddo, and so I've been following her ever since she became part of Elite. And I'm like, this chick is sick.
She is. She was a superstar for us, and was one of the reason why we had so much attention around us, was because of her.
She's tapped into a lot of like the Columbus, Ohio fitness space.
Yeah, everybody knows her, and she's deservedly to be known. I mean, she's an angel-like personality with a hustle. And
she's super entrepreneurial. That's for sure.
She is. Yeah, she launched her own. It's the Stardust line. She's got various kind of.
She's got like an apple cider vinegar situation going on right now. Yeah. I dig.
And she just had a kid, but she was, someone who I really was thankful to bring onto the company, and that's somebody that didn't have like, your cut and dry startup experience, but you knew that she was a needle in a haystack.
Go get her.
It was exactly what we needed at the right time.
And like, she is my understanding, just based off what I've seen from her, is that she is like, has a lot of knowledge about a lot of topics in the health and wellness space.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And she has a lot of people that she knows, and people who know her. And very robust in the way that she thinks about it. And so, she was a big boost to us. And, I wished we could have, kept her on and kept building, because she would have been a really prominent person in the company.
Yeah. So October, November 23, writing was sort of on the wall in the summer, I recall.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so... and your wife is pregnant at the time too. So like, there's a lot going on. You're going to be a new dad.
Yeah.
You also know that, dang, I don't know if this thing that I built that I love is going to work out. So how do you process that and come out on the other side?
I think I just started with the things that I'm thankful for.
Yeah. Some gratitude.
Thankful for my health and the experiences that I have, and the wife that I have, and the friends around me, and we have a house, and I knew who I was, and I'm still confident in myself.
Definitely.
And so, trying to stay grounded amongst all of this certainly was a challenge, but it was necessary. And look, I knew that there was something else to be done. I'm 28 at the time.
Yes.
And
like fresh 28.
Yeah. And so I knew I was gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking forward to being a dad.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Looking forward to,
what that was going to be like. And that's a whole new challenge and a whole new adventure. Things to learn, things that I have no idea about until you do it. It's like entrepreneurship. You've heard of it before, and you can like read up on it.
Yeah, right.
But you have no idea what it's like until you actually do it.
Super experiential.
Fatherhood is pretty synonymous.
Yes.
As you know.
Yes.
And it's when she was born, it was such a joy. And so I took that time to focus on being a dad between October and March. October of 23, March of 24. I was like, I'm going to learn as much as I can about how to be a dad. And
what did you learn? So what did you learn up until May was born?
Yeah.
And then what did you learn after?
So I guess, professionally.
Yes,
I was an entrepreneur in residence with a local venture studio between October and December. So like basically leading up to
when May was born, I was kind of doing 30 hours a week.
Okay, say that one more time. You were doing what?
It's an entrepreneur in residence with the venture studio here in Columbus. And so an entrepreneur in residence is essentially an EIR that looks at business models, understands them, renders opinions on different facets of the potential business.
Yeah, okay, I remember this.
Kind of gives advice and maybe a green light or a red light on whether this thing should go to the next step. And so it did that. And then May was born, and then I just was at home for 3 months. And so, sorry, your question about being a dad.
What did you learn about being a dad between October and when May was born?
Oh, geez.
And then what did you learn after? I mean, was anything relevant? Like, did you learn stuff that you were able to apply, or was it just like, I read these books and now I'm in it and it's just like, whatever?
I mean, Kathleen and I were reading these books together, and it was more about what to expect within the first 6 months. How the baby is going to like its demeanor, its schedules, so it's kind of preparing you for the logistics of things.
Sure.
Not like the wisdom of being a dad.
Sure.
It's
yeah.
more
You
about
can't.
the X's and O's of keeping a baby alive.
Right.
And so, did that. And then, May was born December 30th, 2023. Greatest day of our lives. She came out and I knew she was perfect. And then, just the funniest, I think the most clear, vivid memory I have of that time, which is you're delirious, right? Because you're sleep deprived and you're up every 2 hours and family is over visiting and food is being delivered.
Yes.
And, you don't know the time of day. And it was
there's no real schedule.
It was
or
December
routine.
and February, in January and February. It's dark outside. I mean, you have no idea. But I remember Kathleen and I had the schedule of so she would go to bed between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. And then she would wake up and it'd be her turn to kind of be with May. And I would stay up with her at that time, sometimes till 3 a.m. And I just watched Band of Brothers.
Right.
In the living room with May sleeping on me. And, wake up to feed her a bottle and
just some light
and there'd be just explosions in the background and that'd keep me up.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Hard to fall asleep during that show. Because Tay and I watched it a few months later.
So that keep me up. And, I'm not sure what you learn around that time, but you just get through it.
Bro. So real quick, fun fact. So my birthday is July 21, 95. Alex is August 12, 95. So super close in age, was 3 weeks. And it's also just fun because the numbers are flipped.
Right.
But it just was chance. So Alex and his wife got pregnant first, and then my wife and I got pregnant. And it was we were 3-ish weeks behind, 4 weeks behind them. And
in terms of due date.
In terms of due date. And it's December 30th, right?
That's right.
So May is born. And actually, I'm going to take another step back. So a few days before May is born, Tay and I had made the name of our soon-to-be daughter public as June. And I remember when I told Alex this, we were at his brother-in-law's place.
Yeah, that's right.
And Alex did an amazing job of keeping a stoic stone face because they were keeping everything under wraps. And
we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell our family. We didn't tell our friends. We didn't tell anybody
no one knew
what name we were thinking about.
No one knew. So is it okay if I tell the story then? Okay. So Alex and I were at Jackie O's Columbus location, and we were hanging out, just like kind of getting ready for fatherhood. Together. Together. It was the last time grabbing some beers as married men, but not dads.
That's right.
And so we didn't have too many, but we were feeling pretty good. And I was like, bro, I've got to tell you something. He's like, I want to tell you the name of our kid. And I was like, dude, are you sure? Because you've kept it under wraps so far. And like we knew when May was coming.
Yeah.
Like it was a set date. And I was like, yeah, bro, you're my brother. I'm going to tell you. And it was like, so when you told me what your kid was going to be named, you said your kid was going to be named June. And we were at Charlie's house. He's like, we haven't told him this, but our kid is going to be named May. And we were like, May and June. And I was like, oh my gosh.
The perfect story.
Incredible. And so I had no clue. It just so happens that we both named our kid after month of the year. June is really juniper after the juniper bush. But
and
regardless.
May is Margaret.
Margaret, right. Yeah. But regardless, the names we were going to call them in May and June. Yeah, the nicknames. So then June is born. May is born. And then, so 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 days later, my child June comes 3 weeks early. And an incredible blessing.
And they've been best friends since.
And they've been best friends since. They had no choice.
No choice.
Really more like sister cousins.
That's exactly right.
And it was actually incredible because Alex and Kath were only 6 days ahead of us. And so I would be texting Alex like, oh, this is what's happening with June. I'm like, okay, well, here's what's going to happen in the next couple of days. And it was more or less pretty accurate because babies are basically the same outside of maybe like certain temperament things, but like when the poop changes and when this happens and whatever. So regardless, Alex and I are like 3 weeks apart. Our kids are 6 days apart, and their names are consecutive months. It's really hard to believe, and it was all by chance.
Not planned at all.
Not planned at all, but it's been this
product of our friendship.
It's just been this incredible product of our friendship mixed with just the best of happenstances.
That's right.
And so it has just been just a total blessing to have that be the case, and to have our kiddos. Alex and I just went to the zoo 2 weeks ago with the kiddos. Saw some elephants, some penguins, and those are probably the highlights.
Some monkeys.
And what's cool now, and I know this is something that you are really happy about. Obviously, if I could see you more, I would. But life is life. But our wives actually see each other more than we see each other now. Recently, just due to the factor of play dates and them being so close in age. It's just like, it's really nice just to see their relationship further and deepen because they're in the exact same phase of raising a kid. Because after like the first few weeks, then it sort of evens out.
Yeah.
And 6 days, at a year and 5 months is just like somewhat irrelevant. But so that has been a total joy. But anyways, back to the story. So
life story.
So May's born and you're off of work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, and up through March.
Yeah. What's
happening during this time?
So in December, actually like 2 weeks before May was born, Ohio State came and I had a meeting with them, and they were like, hey, we're doing...
Came to you, or what do you mean?
I got an intro to one of the senior leaders, and he was like, hey, we're doing this new thing with kind of venture capital and kind of broad capital strategy and venture strategy for the university. And I was interested. to hear what they had to say. And I, never went to Ohio State, but know how important it plays in this kind of ecosystem.
Yes.
For many facets. But I know that also kind of like the venture ecosystem for Ohio State, there's much to be desired from the university in that regard. And
you're aware of this going in?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I had the meeting, and we're kind of back and forth. And I, told them that, hey, I'm expecting a baby here in the next 2 weeks. They were aware of that. And then, when March came, was when I was like, okay, it's time to find the next opportunity. And there was a couple things I was exploring. There was an option to build a new startup. Mm-hmm. There was an option to join another one that someone else was founding. And there was then an option to join Ohio State. And I knew that I wanted at this moment and that moment in life, just a bit more stability.
Totally understandable. I relate. I relate.
And at least the ability to forecast the next 18 months.
Yes, totally.
And so, and I just didn't have the fire. I had just kind of been through the ringer a little bit.
Yeah, understandable.
And been delirious for the last 3 months.
Yep.
With a baby, and
what a time.
And I was like, well, and I'm not totally passionate about what the next problem I really care about. Because I couldn't go and build the same.
Sure, you can't fake passion either.
Yeah, exactly. And the only way to be an entrepreneur is to work on a problem that you just can't stop thinking about. And I didn't have that. And so Ohio State was like, hey, just come work with us and see what you think. And so I decided to join the university and work on kind of the venture capital and kind of entire capital continuum from the research perspective, from the alumni perspective, from the student perspective. And that's what I do now. It's been a little over a year, close to a year and a half.
Oh my God, it has.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it's been pretty cool. I mean, at a university like this, which is huge, gigantic, bureaucratic, lots of money involved, lots of people involved. I mean, if you think about the students and the medical center and the athletics and the faculty and the research,
and just the spread across the state.
I mean, we're talking 200,000 people.
Yeah, for sure.
That are just involved in that.
Double the size of the shoe.
Don't even think about season ticket holders. Don't even think about patients at the hospital. I mean, it's a really expansive ecosystem. And I never thought I would join an ecosystem like that, because I've been so startup, 12 person teams working on a problem, waking up every day, having no barriers, having no conflicts, having no ability to move as fast or as slow as you want. And then but I know how much the university means to the ecosystem around us, and that's why I decided to take the leap and to do this. And it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, we have 60,000 enrolled students year over year. We have 600 plus thousand alumni. We have $1.5 billion of research expenditures. So if you think about just immensity, it's one of the biggest institutions in North America.
Huge.
I mean, it's gigantic. And there's a lot of opportunity on the venture side. And I'm working right now with our team to unlock a lot of that. So for example, there's a couple startups out there in the Bay Area that have some Ohio State affiliations that are one of the more fastest growing startups in the world right now. And
what are they into?
There's one that's an AI code editing tool.
Okay.
There's one that is one based out of, I think, New York, that is working on functional medicine, blood biomarker testing.
Nice, love it.
It's called Superpower.
Cool.
And so, anyways, there's a lot
Great
of
name.
Yeah, there's there's a lot of those out there where the university just has up to this point have had no idea about who those founders are or how they relate to the university and what they're working on and the scale of things.
How do you find out about them?
Talking to people.
Yeah.
Back to the network example. Talking to people. Talking to prominent founders that I know have connections to Ohio State and just say, hey, what are you seeing? Who do you know? Who's in your network? I'd love to kind of aggregate this and centralize some of this knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've sourced about 450 startups that have some affiliation to the university.
Cool.
Either they are research founded.
Mm-hmm.
The IP was built inside of the university and then moved outside. A student concept or an idea that they're working on, or a alumni founded venture that's raised $1 billion.
Gotcha.
All of those are kind of like the definition of what I'm focused on. And, we're going to do something that's going to take the next step. So not only just being aware of those things, but to maybe potentially invest in those things. Mm-hmm. We're thinking about some of those things, that opportunity.
How do you work on spreading awareness that you're looking for this sort of stuff?
We're kind of being a little quiet at the moment. We're not trying to be totally out there because we don't have the vehicle yet to actively put effort behind. Mm-hmm. And so it's just all people.
Gotcha.
It's just it's like talking to one person and they know 3 people, and then talking to those 3 people and they know 3 people. And
so if you were to think about your work week, how much of your time is spent just reaching out to folks and saying, hey, I heard about this, is it 10%, 20%? How much of your time
I'd say probably 30 or 40% is either talking to people or getting on a Zoom call with someone who's based in the Bay and meeting them for an hour, or meeting somebody here in Columbus for coffee. Mm-hmm. It's expanding Ohio State's kind of interest in the venture ecosystem from a ground up perspective.
So cool.
Yeah.
I think what's so cool about that is just it's so exploratory. It's very exploratory. And also, obviously, with hindsight, you sort of create the narrative of your life. And that's what's been cool about talking to you right now, is it's just very evident. Yeah. And so you kind of see how your experience is sort of built up and now is leading to sort of where you are now. Yeah.
I'm proud of the diversity of experiences that I've chosen for
totally
life, because I think they all might not be from a first glance. Mm-hmm. They all sometimes may not relate to one another.
I get it.
but the experiences, whether it's being a musician or trying to be a musician, mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd ever classify myself as that. Mm-hmm. But that's somewhat entrepreneurial.
Oh, definitely.
It's creating.
It's your own brand.
It's creating something from nothing. Uh-huh. That's what entrepreneurship is.
For sure.
One's in the more creative arts realm. The other is in a more kind of economic realm. It's, whether it's athletics, pushing yourself to be the best every day and making sure that you're consistently, getting 1% better at things.
Better than yesterday.
Continuous learning, continuous, all of those things. I think I'm thrilled to have those things carrying into what I do today.
Yeah. Well, kind of the reason I brought up sort of just also the narrative and why I brought up how much percentage of your week is based off of, networking, you have to seek those out, and you're very much a go-getter. So you can't be in that position and just not reach out to people right. that is part of the job. And so, I think your experience really lines up. And And something just happened.
What do you mean?
To you. You just got a little bit of an honor ski.
Oh, yeah.
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 What just happened? And give a little bit about what that is. And
So I just got honored by the Forbes team in the local 30 under 30 list. So essentially, Forbes goes out to one location every year, whether it's Columbus or New York or Los Angeles. This year it was Columbus, and they
why Columbus this year?
Because we've the state and Jobs Ohio have kind of like courted them in the last couple of years to say, hey, just spend some time in Ohio, take a look at us.
Dude, because Ohio is on the up and up, baby.
We're crushing.
Yeah.
A lot to do.
Yes, for sure.
But we are on the right track, in the right direction. Thanks to some people I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, was honored by the Forbes team for the 30 under 30 list, which was super cool. I mean, like the people on the list are business people, athletes, social influencers, you name it. It's a pretty like expansive list. But yeah, there are only 30 people, and my work at Ohio State was enough for them to say, hey, you're doing good stuff here. Congrats. Would you want to be a part of this? And so that's.
Does anyone say no?
No.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Now there's a couple of people that didn't show up. That I was excited that they would show up, but they didn't. Zach Rowensky, who's like a Columbus Blue Jackets player.
Sick.
He's like our best player. Didn't show up. I was excited to see him, but
so hockey of him.
Yeah, he's probably out in Ibiza doing something. But who did show up was Caleb Downs, who is this safety for Ohio State, just won the national championship. He's going to be a first-round draft pick next year in the NFL. He's going to make millions next year. And I was like, hey, if you want to learn a little bit more about startup investing, I'd love to help out. I work at Ohio State.
How
Would
fun.
love to be your guy.
Is he stoked?
He's like, yeah, here's my number.
That's awesome.
And they got his number, and haven't got together with him yet, but
sure,
try to work on that.
I'm so into it.
Yeah.
How exciting! What was that day like? What did you guys do?
So it was like an announcement at 10 a.m. and they didn't tell anybody who was going to be like honored.
So you had no clue.
I had a clue.
Okay.
Because you got the invite, so they're like, hey, come to this thing. And then here's the next thing you can go to. It's like the Memorial Golf Tournament week. And so you could go to the golf tournament. And just like, sure, I'm going to come. And yeah, it was probably, so there's 30 people who were honored. I think 18 showed up. Okay. So there's still some people that maybe didn't get it. Or like didn't get that, like, hey, if you get invited, you're going to be on the list.
Right.
Or they're Zach Wierenski and they're not, you're too cool to show up.
Sure. Right. Literally too cool for school.
Too successful to show up.
Too cool for school.
And so, was at the announcement. My dad spoke for a little bit, and then
who?
This guy who I know, who's doing some politics stuff. And then went to the golf tournament with one of Kathleen and I's close friends was also honored into the list.
Oh, cool.
Her name's Nikki Cooper. She's with a group called the Business Roundtable, and so she was honored, and it was fun to hang out with her.
Awesome.
Throughout the day too.
Yeah, cool to share that with her then.
Yeah, they had twins.
Whoa.
Twin boys, their first go around, and now she's pregnant again.
Wow.
And they're not going to find out the gender.
Ooh.
So yeah, she's like, they're doing August.
Oh, okay. I think just a little bit before saying I.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the day.
I was threatening to with twins.
That's tough.
Well, I had no control. I was like, it might happen. Just so you know, I'm trying. In my head, I'm willing it. It did not.
It did not.
But never say never.
Yeah, you're having another girl.
Yeah, buddy.
Girl dad.
Yeah, girl dad. I've had some coworkers who, when I was in Chapel Hill, they were like, "You're going to be a girl dad." And so when I told them that the second one was going to be a girl, they were like, "We told you, girl dad all the way."
Well, it means you got to try for your third.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
We'll
see.
get through the second.
We'll see if Tay's down for that. But
Health, happiness.
that's right. It's all good. Two lovely, beautiful girls. It's all good.
You gotta have. Here's the playbook. Want to know the playbook?
I'm so into the playbook.
Happiness. No, sorry. Health,
Mhm.
happiness, expansion.
Health, happiness, expansion. So this is such a hard tangent. but that's the most recent thing.
Do we ever do tangents?
No, I don't know. One of my favorite Bible stories, and I'm not like, if you know me, I'm not like the most religious person, but I've also really like tightened up. I read the from December 20 tightened up from December 23 to 24. I read the entire New Testament.
I know. You told me this,
and I've also read and know a decent amount about Genesis and Exodus, and so
you know who's gonna be really proud?
Your mom. Yeah. Oh, dude, she'll be like, "No way, this is a great development." But
she would be so happy.
Yes, am I going to see her next weekend?
Yeah.
Okay,
they'll be there.
Then I'll tell her.
Larry, my mom, and Pops will be there next weekend.
I'm so down. I almost tangented again, but we're going to stay focused. One of my favorite things about the Genesis story is the story of Abraham, right? Because at the end, basically, God says, like, the moral of the story is, do X, Y, Z, go out, seek adventure, do these things, and your entire lineage will be blessed going forward. And there's this evolutionary biologist that I'm into, Brett Weinstein, and I read his book, A Hunter-Gatherer's Life to the 21st Century.
Okay.
And he is Jewish.
I've heard of him.
Ethnically, yeah.
I've heard of him.
But he is, I guess you would say he's a theist. He's mostly an atheist, but he believes that you should act like God exists, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Yes, and so he's a big fan of the story of Abraham because it basically spells out behavior patterns that best predict longevity of lineage. So if you're able to live by example these values and transfer these values to your kids, and they are able to do the same, that is most advantageous from a biological standpoint as well. So it's like the story of Abraham is a story that makes sense to follow if you're interested in projecting your lineage as far into the future as possible. And I think that is super cool because it's like where religion meets evolutionary biology, and there are certain behavior patterns that if you follow and you're able to transfer them, and if you follow them, then you lead by example, and your kids will see the benefit of them. Yeah. Then they'll want to follow those behavior patterns as well. And so I think about that a lot in terms of just like behaviors I want to make sure I embody so that my kids are like, yes, life is good, and I want to be a parent, and I want to pass these values down.
Yeah.
And so that's the tangent. Excellent. Thank you. When you think about your future, obviously you got this awesome gig going on right now. Like, what do you think about? And I don't mean that like a leading question, like when are you leaving OSU? I just mean like, where do you see yourself going?
So I'm trying to get this project done at Ohio State that if it goes the way that we want it to, I could be connected to the university for the next 12, 15 years.
Cool.
It's in a, thinking
You've mentioned this before.
Yeah. And I can't like talk about
of course,
it a lot.
And I wouldn't want you to.
But, yeah, we want to build something that, like I said, is an extra step rather than just knowing what exists, but trying to do something.
Be on the cutting edge,
but like trying to support the ecosystem a little bit better from like a transactional standpoint, and from an aggregation of the network. And if we are able to do that, then and I'm a part of it, then this could be a very long-term thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be a dream job. It could be just a super cool thing for me and a super cool thing for everyone at the university and people who like the university.
Awesome.
And so that's...
I mean, if you're pro-Ohio, you kind of have to be a little bit pro-OSU.
Yeah. This is a very pro-Ohio thing that we're trying to get done. And if we get it done, this is going to mean a lot for people even outside of the university to just say, oh, wow, here's Ohio State taking the next step and taking the lead and showing leadership in this space.
Yeah, leading by example.
Yep. And so if that happens, that's what I'm focused on.
Awesome.
Every day I wake up, go to work, and try to make this future possible.
And you feel full of purpose.
Yes, and I feel empowered. I feel full of purpose. And if it happens, it'd be a blessing, and I'd be very thankful to be a part of it. It doesn't, for some reason or another.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? And I do like the team at Ohio State. It's not a perfect place, not because it's Ohio State, but because any big, large institution
bureaucracy
has its...
Yeah.
And, someone who's a big...
I'm low tolerance bureaucracy.
Yeah. And someone who's been in startups their entire life, it's just not... It's just not...
You can't just do something.
Not the
Yeah. For sure.
So, who knows? I don't even have other possibilities in mind. It's just
That's great,
focused
though.
on...
Means you're taken care of.
Yeah, focus on the MO, trying to be a great dad, trying to stay in shape, trying to, just keep on inching in the game of life, and trying to get this, this possibility done for the university.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about, we kind of went from childhood all the way through to where you are now. What values do you feel like were instilled in you as a child that are still a driving force now?
Wow. I think family. Family is a big one.
Family in the sense of like a grounding force, or
family as in spend time with them.
Okay.
Like dedicate
Yeah.
time for family. And it's not always been the easiest.
It's challenging
especially for me and Kathleen, because both our parents are divorced, and we have, my mom and dad are remarried, and we have like a ton of family around us, which is a blessing.
Yes, it is.
But it's also difficult.
It's hard to juggle
in some cases. And I'm so thankful that my family has a great relationship with one another.
Yes.
Which is like
it's very commendable.
Yes.
It's very commendable for sure.
And I'm thankful for my mom and dad for making that,
providing that environment.
Providing that environment.
Yeah, they did great with that.
And
I look up to them both for that, for sure.
Yes. So family, like spending time with them, making sure that family, and that's one of the reasons why we moved back from California, was to be closer to family, because we knew that kids would be in the future for Kathleen and I, and we'd love to be around people who can help.
Yeah, same page.
Like one example, Kathleen was a nanny for that family. The kid's name was Zayden, and there's one point where like the family had food poisoning.
Tough.
And they had no support system. The only person that they could call was Kathleen. So Kathleen went over and took care of the kid while the parents were just on the toilet.
Tough.
And we were like, that does not... If we stayed in California, that's our life. Like,
you would need to have a diehard nanny. Like a ride or die nanny.
Yeah, but could you afford that?
For sure. Totally.
Cost of living is certainly not as much, is much more difficult out there than it is here.
Well, there's the mass exodus from California.
Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of like a example of why we wanted to move back here and be around family. Of like a kind of a core value. I think just, I don't know if kindness is the right word, but like, trying to, empathy, trying to understand where people come from, or just, one thing I think I've done a good job of is kind of what's called cognitive empathy.
Okay.
Which is like understanding what people are thinking, not the feelings, but like the decision-making process of what people are doing.
Okay. So
I don't know
being
if
able
that's
to
like
maybe get in the headspace of why they made that decision.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's like a value that was instilled upon me, but it's just.
I mean, it could be something
like
that maybe your folks demonstrated.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, work ethic for sure.
Yeah. How was that instilled in you as a kid?
Just athletics. Like understanding what extra effort means.
Okay.
Because I definitely was not the biggest or the strongest. And I definitely wasn't the fastest growing up. I eventually did.
You got there. You got close. I
eventually did become that, but that's only because of hard work. Like I found myself, I'm never good at something the first time.
Cool.
Like, if I try something for the first time, I'm never like, oh, that kid's a natural. Like I've never had that in my life.
Interesting.
Like I've never been good at something that I just pick up and voila, I'm great. Now, I'll be really good the fourth or fifth time.
Mm-hmm. Quick learner.
Yeah, I'm a quick learner, but I also will dedicate the time
appropriate resources
to get better at
that.
If it's something to spend time on.
Sure.
And so quick learning, having a short learning curve. I mean, one thing that I've definitely been blessed to be around is like having good mentors and good advisors, either in sports or music or professionally, to be around people who I'm inspired by and who can spend time with me. That's not just like something that, my parents, my parents are great careerists, but
yeah, they're both go-getters.
So it's, nice to be around that, but, also people who they can, be connected with, or I'm make my own connections, and people just spend time. And, I'm still under 30. And so youth, I think, is somewhat attractive for people to, like, oh, somebody, who's young, who's trying to make a difference. I think that's, attractive for people. So, I think that's been a big factor in my development so far too.
Nice. Awesome. That's very cool, man. One of the things, hold on, I'm gonna get it. One of the things
by the way, I'm so disappointed in us,
bro. This is pitiful.
It's awful.
It's actually worst case scenario. I was during this talk at one point. I did get excited to build this later. But this is unfortunate.
This is so bad.
In my head, this was an excellent idea. I'm like, oh, we're going to build it. People are going to see it as we go. And it's like, and I almost thought about it as like how you mentioned Legoing and listening to podcasts. Yeah. I thought, I'm like, dude, we're going to be in flow state.
Yeah, it's a flow state.
It's a total flow state. We're going to be in flow state. We're going to assemble the Daily Bugle. Oh my gosh. Daily Bugle like we're architects.
Yeah.
And, we got the ground. We bought the plot of land.
So there are, for those still watching, thank you for staying with us.
Good job.
There are 16 stages of development, and within each stage, there's probably 3 or 4 bags
minimum
per stage.
Minimum.
And we've only got through the first stage of
the very first,
number 1 of 16. So.
And there was only one bag for this?
No, there was several.
Okay. Yeah. So we are 1/16th.
Yeah, we were 1/16th of the way through.
Nice. Like you said, not the best at something the first time you start.
That's exactly right. But if we do 5 podcasts,
if we do 5 episodes
of building this, we may finish it.
Each one might get shorter because we'll get better each time.
We may finish it.
We'll get better each time. I don't know. Oh, the thing I wanted to mention. It's just a little bit more behind the scenes in terms of Alex and I. But one of the treasures of just having Alex as a friend, obviously, our first memory of each other was that when we. Yeah, when our first memory of each other is this trip we took to Michigan when we were 7 years old. We've had so many amazing trips and memories since then. They're not incalculable, but there's a lot of them. And I'm looking at one off camera right now. But something something that was really special outside of the fact that, we had our kids so close to each other was also our weddings were 7, 9. We're just like 2-3 months apart. And that also meant our bachelor parties were like 4 months apart.
Yeah.
And so going into the summer of 2022, we had Alex's bachelor party in May in Key West. Almost every trip Alex and I, there's a lot of we've had so much fun. We've had so much fun.
Period.
And a lot of times life is like a movie together, and
yeah, it is.
It really is. And the group of guys that you assembled for that trip was great.
Hodgepodge.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say shout out Tony and Spencer because Alex got food.
Shout out to night one.
Shout out to night one. Alex got food poisoning on his bachelor party, so yes. I ended up bonding with some of the other guys and just having a trip. But and then my bachelor party was August later, and then so it was Alex's bachelor party in May, married July, my bachelor party in August, married September, and so the summer into spring into fall of 2022 was just this like amazing time. And then to have our kids so close together, this pod, I was stressed about this and it was so easy. It was the easiest pod I've done. This is like the 34th and it was so much fun.
You were coming up on 3 years of marriage.
Wow. That's crazy.
Soon it's going to be 30 years.
I know.
We're still going to be doing pods.
Still going to be doing the same stuff. Shenanigans all the way. I will never stop shenanigans. But yeah, brother, this has been awesome.
Love you.
I love you so much.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for next weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be together next weekend. Dang it, can't get rid of you.
Can't get rid of you. And it will actually be the first time we talked about this before. I'll edit out the part. It was caught on camera, but it'll be edited out. It'll be the first time our families have done an overnight. Overnight time together.
Yeah, Jake, Tay, June,
Kath,
Alex,
May. Yeah, and so it'll be plus Mom, Larry, Pops. So gang's all here, bro. The tangent I was gonna go on is when I was on the kayak, I called Larry in the middle of the ocean. Did he tell you this?
No, you called Larry.
I called Larry. Yeah,
what?
Yeah, I called Larry. Well, because I told you not to tell your tell your mom to reach out to your mom for a donation. I was like, I'll reach out to her.
Oh,
and
yeah, right.
And so we're out in the middle of the water. I'm like, bro, Larry would love this, dude. Because Larry's an outdoor guy. Yeah. Larry's an outdoor guy.
He does kayaking too.
Yes, and so and we went kayaking together.
Yeah.
And
you lost your sunglasses.
And I lost my. So that's so funny. So I called Larry, and we had done this part of the kayak called the 7 Mile Bridge. And so when you're driving from Miami all the way to Key West, there's a point when you're going, I guess, from Isla Mirada to Baihana, however you say it.
Okay.
Anyways, it's a 7 Mile bridge. It is what it is. And it's probably the most dangerous part of the kayak because you're going from land to land. You just have to cross it. And we get to this key, and this little key is just this spit of land called Molasses Key. And there's water in this little spit of land and water in this little spit of land that are Molasses Key. And you're just chilling. And you know how the keys are. It's like Caribbean blue. It's, the keys are the Bahamas of America.
Right.
And we're chilling in like 2 feet of water.
No,
We've been making good time on the trips. We get to spend like an hour and a half here chilling out the kayak,
nice,
eating subs. We brought some brews. We did rum shots. Like, you know, we're like we didn't get like crazy, but like I had like 2 beers and a rum shot or 2. So like, you know, having a good time on this little spit of land. I love Pirates of the Caribbean, so I'm just living my best life.
Nice.
And
doing your best Jack Sparrow.
Doing my best Jack Sparrow, doing all that. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to give Larry a call. And, dude, he's so funny. I gave him a call, and he's like, Jake Man! And we just start talking, and he doesn't even question why I'm calling him. Like, the last time I talked to Larry on the phone was when I was a park ranger in 2018 because he rode his bike over and he called me to let me know that he was there to say hi. And so, and you know, I've known Larry a long time, but I haven't talked on the phone with him in 7 years. And just immediately start going into conversation. We start talking about when we were in Siesta Key and I lost my sunglasses and just all these trips we've been on when he proposed to your mom.
Oh my gosh, you were there for that.
Yeah, I was there for that.
That's funny.
All these things.
That's so amazing.
And
that's so amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. And then at the end I was like, yeah, well, he's like, yeah, I know you're doing your paddle. And I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know, I appreciate it. And he's like, all right, well, you shook the tree. We'll see what falls.
What? You said that?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Oh, my God. I was so into it. And I was like, all right, bye. And he's like, all right, later. And then I went about. But I was just in the middle of the Keys on this molasses key. Just had a conversation with Larry for like 20 minutes or so. Oh, it was hilarious. It was so funny.
He's got his moments, man. Sometimes he got these one-liners. I mean, we can't say this on camera, but we know the one-liner he said.
Yes. Incredible. Anyways, let's wrap this up, brother. I love you so much, man.
Love you too.
Thank you for doing this.
Love you so much.
Love you so much.
Well, it's first of many, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be a regular, guys, so.
Regular. Later.
See ya, boys.
What's up, everybody? It's Jake here, Fowler & Friends. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me and all of us over here at Fowler & Friends. So if you could please like, subscribe, comment, do all of that. But definitely subscribe, share the videos with your friends, and keep on supporting the channel. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.